Welcome, everyone, to Southern Virginia University football. I'm Jim Bresnahan. I'm joined by Mike Harmon, getting ready to bring you Knights football today from the fields at Southern Virginia University as the Knights play host to the Wesley College Wolverines in New Jersey Athletic Conference football action. As New Jersey Athletic Conference leader right now would be Christopher Newport and Salisbury sitting atop the conference. Newport is at 3-0, Salisbury 2-0. Wesley comes in 1-1 in the conference, 1-2 overall. And the Knights are 0-2 in the conference, 1-2 on the season. And Mike, a very tough opponent today in Wesley College, despite that overall 1-2 record.
Well, they did lose to Delaware College in the beginning of the year, who was ranked number 14. Wesley has had a history of being a really great program, especially over the last 4 years. If you want to find out how great they were, check out the second-string quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and you'll see their quarterback that was at Wesley for the last 4 years. So a huge contrast in styles we'll see today.
And a couple of weeks ago, they lost to Christopher Newport 42-24, but that was a little deceiving. A lot of turnovers in that game by Wesley, and they were tied 21-21 in the fourth quarter on the road at Newport. So this is a very good football team, and I'm sure Wesley is talking about maybe running the table, trying to finish 8-2, and trying to either still win the conference or maybe make the Division III tournament as an at-large team. The Knights 1-2 played Salisbury very tough last Saturday on the same field, 35-0 loss. They are trying to get their offense going, and we are underway here at the fields at Southern Virginia University with the Knights returning the opening kickoff, and they'll get it back across the 15, across the 20, and up to around the 25-yard line goes Lakeith Hopkins, and we got a penalty flag right off the bat.
Well, hopefully, like you said, the Knights need to get their offense going. I know it's a ball control offense, and that would be great if the Knights can keep the Wolverines off the field as much as possible.
Hate to see a blocking penalty against the Knights. It was a pretty decent return by Hopkins out to almost the 25-yard line. But if this is some sort of block in the back, it'll be forcing the Knights to start their first series of the game a little further back. Knights were able to run the ball effectively in their opening season victory, Mike, at Earlham, but the last 2 games against Frostburg and Salisbury, they have really struggled to run the football. And this penalty, the first penalty of the football game, will go against the Knights and will march them backwards.
And you don't want to be starting that far back in your own territory against somebody like Wesley, because if you get a turnover or have to punt, that just gives them a shorter field.
And the Knights are going to start this first series of the football game at their own 12-yard line. Knights opened up the season with a victory at Earlham, then lost at Frostburg 24-7, lost to Salisbury last week 35-0. And Ty Jones, quarterback, play action, wants to throw on first down, scrambles away momentarily from a sack and then gets dumped back around the 6-yard line. Going to lose yardage, and it'll be second down and long coming up for the Knights around their own 6, almost 16 yards to go for a first down now.
Yeah, that was Mike Sabino who was able to get in around the offensive line of the Knights and put too much pressure on Jones.
Now we'll see if the Knights throw the football. The ball is close to the 7. It's second down, almost 15 to go. That is Fry, the running back, in the backfield. He gets the carry up the middle, burst ahead, good run, up to around the 16-yard line, nearly a 9-yard pickup.
And it's great to see Fry out there competing. He is the leading rusher for the Knights with 162 yards so far. I think we're going to see him featured more and more and more as they get into the later stages of the season.
He's averaging about 54 yards per game. And as I say, in the opening season victory at Earlham, Knights as a team ran the ball very effectively, but the running attack has been shut down the last couple of games, and that's probably because of good defenses from Frostburg and Salisbury.
Well, once you get into the Capital Athletic Conference, you know that the competition level really jacks up.
3rd and 7, and Wesley was expecting that running play, it looks like, and they pile up the running back right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain to the 17-yard line. That's about all. Going to force the Knights on a 4th down, almost 6 to go, to punt the football away.
Well, we've talked about a contrast of styles. The Knights come in averaging 238 yards for the game, 225 of those yards from the rush, only 13 pass yards. Conversely, we have Wesley who comes in, and they really try to get the ball going through the air with 272 passing yards per game and 156 rush yards.
Puts a lot of pressure, Mike, on that defensive secondary for the Knights. The defense as a whole, but especially I would imagine the secondary.
Yeah, they're going to have to really communicate really well and make sure that no one gets back behind them.
Knights punting, angling away over to the left side as far as Wesley is concerned. No return. Going to take a nice roll and roll all the way to the Wesley 40-yard line. So the Wolverines will start their first series of the football game at their own 40-yard line. And now they'll bring out their quarterback, Dan Kizak, 6'2", 200-pound junior. And, Mike, as you mentioned, he likes to throw the football.
They really like to throw the football. He's averaging about, his completion percentage is 62.5 with 695 yards total, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And a running back alongside, very talented too, in Jamar Bainham. Jamar Baynard right alongside the quarterback, Kizek. Let's see if they throw on first down. Got a man in motion. They're going to hand it off to the motion man. That's Cap Miller. And the Knights knock him down for a huge loss. Great swarming defense by Southern Virginia. Going to be a 6 to 7 yard loss, depending, of course, on where they spot the football.
Yeah, it looks like that was number 24. Mitch Orm was able to string it out and take some of the length away.
Yeah, Cap Miller on that little reverse was trying to go around the left side, Mike, and he could never find the corner.
A great job by the Knights playing position defense, stopping up all the gaps.
Second down 16. Now probably a passing situation for Wesley. They'll go play action, quickly throw left to the right side. Nice move on the wide receiver's part, and he's going to pick up a first down as Alex Kemp got the ball in good shape and then put a move on the defender and got away from him for an extra 10 to 12 yards, and it's going to be, it looks like a first down for Wesley.
And that's going to be one of the big keys of the defensive backs. You know that the receivers for Wesley is very talented. Unfortunately, it's not just the talent catching the ball, but it's the yards after reception. Looks like there was a penalty called on Wesley as they're walking backwards.
Ineligible man downfield is the call. Wipes out a huge gain by the Wolverines. So a break for the Knights defense, and we'll see if they can take advantage and not allow a first down now by Wesley.
Well, again, those yards after the catch is going to be something that the Knights are really going to have to contend with. If they can stop the receiver right away after the catch, no problem. If they allow him to run 5 or 6 extra yards, it could be a long day for them.
And the quarterback throws over to the left side this time, but he overthrows a receiver who had a couple of steps on the defender. That the receiver was Bryce Shade going down the left sideline, but the quarterback, Kizak, simply overthrew him. If he puts that on the money, Mike, that could be real problems for the Knights.
Yeah, and that was Mitch Orm, who made a great play on the running play on first down. Let the receiver get behind him, and that's something that we've noticed happen to the Knights over and over and over again, but it is a young defensive backfield.
So it is 3rd and long here for the Wolverines. Around their own 30-yard line. And it looks like we're going to have offsides called against the Knights. It was Mola jumping offsides on the left side. We'll see if the call goes against the Knights. Even if it does, it's still going to bring up 3rd down, about 16 to go.
But again, if we look at the yards per attempt, with Kizak, he's averaging about 10 yards per attempt on his passes. So you don't want to give him that short of a field to play with for a first down.
So, Mike, the field conditions should be a problem, even though we've had a lot of rain in this area over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Well, with the artificial turf field that can pump off about 100 gallons per second, there's no conditions.
Like we almost got about 100 gallons a second.
Oh, and they're saying it was offsides on the
illegal procedure against Wesley. It looks like drawing the man offsides, and that would turn into 3rd and 26.
Well, now if you're the Knights, all you got to do is make sure you keep everybody in front of the first down marker. Don't let anybody get behind you.
And as you mentioned earlier, just a few seconds ago, no big yards after the catch. So it's 3rd and 26, 24-yard line for the Wolverines. No backs in the backfield, just the quarterback. Kizak has 3 receivers to the right, 2 back to the left. He's going to try to throw. Wing it across the middle. He's got his tight end for a catch up to the 42-yard line, pulled in by the tight end Torrey Robinson. So he makes a good gain, but still well shy of the first down marker. And so the Knights defense doing the job, Mike, on the first series of the football game, forcing Wesley to go ahead and put it away here.
Well, and if Wesley's going to give you those opportunities by going backwards with penalties, you have to take advantage of them. The Knights defense really stiffened up, made sure that they were out there to not let anything get behind them. And another penalty on the Wolverines, and they keep going backwards.
And the Knights will take this for field position. Make it a 3rd down and probably about 31 to go. Of course, that was a decent gain by Wesley. Not enough for a first down, but probably to win the field position battle. And taking the penalty forces you allows Wesley to have another crack at third down, Mike, but keeps them bottled up in their own end. They're going to play it safe, go with the draw play. It's a big gain by Baynard. He is all the way out to the 35-yard line. Still going to force a punt, but I'm sure Coach Joe DuPay was hoping to really keep them bottled up inside their 15 or 20-yard line.
Yeah, they did a great job stopping Baynard there. Everybody making sure that nothing got past the first down markers. And again, field position was what the Knights are playing for now. And just a fabulous job by the defense to stiffen up.
So Wesley will kick. The Knights defense doing a great job on that first series to shut down the Wesley offense. And now we'll see if the Knights offense can get things going here in the first period. Kick on its way. No return. Nope. Looks like at the last second, Hopkins will take it, and he'll go out of bounds. And he gets
and there
thrown
should
to the
be
ground.
some kind of.
Not violently thrown to the ground, but enough. But no flag. He was a good 2 to 3 yards out of bounds. Now, admittedly, the Wesley player already had him, Mike.
Yeah, but when you throw him down into the bench, there's got to be something there. The referees really need to make sure that they keep this game under control.
So the Knights offense back onto the field for their second series, and we'll see if Southern Virginia's offense can get things going here, and we'll see if they try to focus on the running game to really open up the running game early on here in the first quarter.
Again, Ty Jones brings them back out.
Hanson is the tailback. Sean Hanson with a man in motion. They run the triple option to the right side to Phillips. He gets a good gain at the 30-yard line. Picks up about 5 yards on the play is Brian Phillips, listed as a quarterback. He's a junior, but been playing a lot here in the last few games as a wideout.
Well, again, sometimes you take those quarterbacks with multiple skills, put them into different positions, but if the Knights can average about 5 yards per game,
no question,
that would be just a great way not only to eat up time, but get down and take a lead on the Wolverines.
And they picked up 6 that time after the 31-yard line. Second down at 4. Jones slipping as he got the handoff to Hanson. Hanson blasting ahead to the 36-yard line, very close to the first down marker.
Well, and if you're a running attack like the Knights are, you would like to see those short third downs, but they did make the first down, so great job of the Knights. Start to find that gelling of the offensive line and control this team that's from Wesley that's so explosive.
And it really does two things. It runs the clock. You would love to shorten this game against a talented opponent like Wesley, but it also keeps that Wesley offense off the field. First and 10, 36-yard line. Jones hands it off again. Short gain this time, maybe a yard for Hanson up to the 37. Stacked up and knocked down right there. Picked up about a yard. Gang tackled by the Wolverines defense.
Well, a lot of people wonder why, hey, you did so good getting to the outside. You got picked up 6 yards. Why do we have to run it up the middle and only get 1 or 2 yards? Well, you have to make those defensive linemen commit and the linebackers commit to that middle. If not, they can just automatically run to the outside and shut down any type of running attack.
Second down, about 8 to go for the Knights. They're in no hurry here. Trying to run a little clock here in the first half in a scoreless ball game. Need 8 for a first down. Man in motion is Hopkins. He gets the pitch, gets wrapped up in the backfield, and thrown to the ground as that was, looks like Mike Sabino, a linebacker coming in. And so on that option play there, Mike, the quarterback, Jones, got hit. He pitched the ball, which was the thing to do, but then Sabino made the play defensively.
Well, that was Ben Robinson that came in and forced the pitch to come really early before the Knights wanted to get that out of their hands. So, again, the Knights' offensive line needs to make sure that they have count for everybody. I'm sure Wesley's going to have scouted them well and may see a lot of blitzes coming.
So it's 3rd and 13. What would usually be looked upon as maybe a passing situation here for the Knights. We'll see if they throw. Or if they play it safe, run the football, and just play that field position game. Man in motion. The pitch is, it was Jones getting ready to pitch. He was going to try to pitch at the tailback, and he got ripped to the ground before he could get the ball out, which might actually be a good thing because that's dangerous when you're getting tackled to try to pitch the ball. And so the Knights on 4th down and long are forced to punt.
Well, and I'm sure that Wesley has looked at the stats and see that the Knights really don't like to throw the ball that much, and so the defensive linemen and linebackers are just pinning their ears back and coming across the line on the movement of the ball.
And it's 4th down and long, and so the Knights will go ahead and punt here.
Well, again, trying to trade for field position, and at some point, hopefully the field position comes out on the positive for the Knights.
Luala getting ready to punt.
And he had a great punt the first time, little rugby style punt.
Angles at the same sideline again, but this one's a little shorter. And it takes a great roll for Wesley. And the Knights are able to cover it, but not till it gets to the 42-yard line of the Knights. So unlike last series, the first series of the game for the Wolverines, where they started at their own 40 and went backwards because of penalties, here they're going to start at the Knights' 42-yard line.
Well, one of those issues with the rugby punt is sometimes they get that backward spin on it, and it depends on how the ball hits, go forward or backwards. That time it just took an unfortunate bounce for the Knights.
And we'll see if the Wolverines offense can take advantage. Kizak, the quarterback. He's got Baynard right alongside. Jamar Baynard, senior running back. Baynard will get the call. Starts right. Goes back to the right now. He's going to be gang tackled by a couple of Knights. Mitch Orm was there, along with Joel Bergman and a couple others.
Well, it looks like the Knights were really prepared for the running game of the Wolverines, but that leaves one-on-one issues out on the outside receivers, and that's where the Knights have been hurt earlier in this season.
And we'll see if the Wolverines throw here on second down. Play action. The quarterback is going to try to take it. He had his knee go to the ground at the 46-yard line, slipped and fell right there. Good pressure put on by the Knights, and again, that was Orem coming up and forcing the action. And the quarterback, by slipping at the 46-yard line, turns it into a third down and 16 to go now.
Well, and this is about the sixth play where the Wolverines are going backwards. So great job by the Knights defense to keep forcing them away from their end zone.
This could be four-down territory, so it could be two cracks at it here for Wesley on third down and long. Kizak, the quarterback, play action. And we got a whistle. It's going to be intercepted and returned for a touchdown. But I heard a whistle, Mike, as the Knights get that ball all the way to the 12-yard line. It looked like there was a whistle, and it looked like everybody kind of froze out there. The Knights got the interception in Joel Bergman.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to count.
Well, and that whistle may have come from somebody in the stands, but I didn't see a flag go up or anything.
But it just seemed to me like everybody kind of froze for a split second there. But what a play by Bergman to continue playing, intercepting the ball, and then taking it the other way. And now we'll see if the Knights could take advantage.
Well, and that's just him listening to his coaches. Make sure you play through until the end of the play. And when the referees are having their hands up and trying to stop the play, Bergman, fabulous job, jumped the route, knew that it was coming, and took it back all the way down to about the 15-yard line.
Don't know if you heard the same whistle that I did. But it just seemed like half the players out there kind of froze for a split second. But not Bergman. He made the play and not only made an interception, but a long return. And the Knights are going to have outstanding field position just outside the 12 or 10-yard line of Wesley. They'll go option play to the left. And the quarterback, Jones, is rampaged by Derek Loria, another linebacker coming in to hit Ty Jones, the quarterback, before he can make a pitch on the option play. And it's going to be a second down and long for the Knights.
And the Knights may have to start looking at trying to have a pass sometime because everybody's committing to the runs. Only the defensive backs are kind of just peeking at the receivers, so setting them up for some type of pass play.
Ball to 14. Second down, 12 for the Knights. Let's see if they throw here or run again. Going to be Fry diving ahead inside the 10. He's close to the 8. Picked up about 4 or 5 yards. And it should bring up third down, maybe 6 or 7 to go here for the Knights. And they are obviously in four-down territory, although they are obviously two, Mike, very close for a field goal here. So depending on what happens on third down, they can kick for the field goal if they don't get into the end zone here, or they could try to go for it on fourth down.
Well, you have to come away with points anytime you're playing a team like Wesley.
And Hansen got the handoff straight ahead, maybe a yard at 2. At best, he was able to pick up a couple of yards, got it down close to the 6-yard line. If they go for the field goal, it would be about a 23-yarder. If they go for it on fourth down, obviously short, but it looks like they're going to send out the kicking team.
And that's a smart play as we see number 86, Sam Horman, in to kick for the Knights. He's 3 for 3. With extra points. This is about from the extra point distance.
And low.
No
and he missed
good.
it. Missed it low and to the left, it looked like.
And there's he's discussing with the holder, number 25, Morgan Smith. Maybe it was the laces were the wrong way or leaning one way or the other. But again, great job by the Knights, showing that they can take care of the ball and push it down deep into Wesley territory. Now we just have to come away with some points.
So the Knights had the big interception return by Joel Bergman, but not able to get it into the end zone, not able to get the field goal from about 24 yards away. And so the Wolverines dodge a bullet, and Wesley's offense is back onto the field here in a scoreless ball game in the first quarter.
Well, if we want to look at the bright side, we can look at field possession and field starting, and Wesley keeps on pushing back towards the Knights' end zone. So great job for the Knights.
Keesack will hand it off to Baynard. He got away from one tackler, got away from a second, got a good block by his wideout out there, and finally is tackled just shy of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like Dalton Camden and Simi Moala were out there to take down Baynard.
Dalton Camden, local Perry McClure graduate, although he also played high school football at Rockbridge County. Played quarterback at Rockbridge, played safety at Perry McClure. Interesting, he's been all over offense and defense. And they go back to the ground game, the Wolverines do. A short gain that time, across the 30, up to the 34-yard line goes Jamar Baynard. You can see, Mike, at least early on here, that if anybody's going to get at the carry, it's going to be Baynard, the senior.
Well, he's their workhorse, like we said earlier. Just a fantastic runner, has 47 yards rushing per game, or averaging 75 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, only lost 1 fumble. So he's done a great job for him.
And he picked up 2 that time. Second down. Here's a reverse, double reverse. It goes off on the left side to Alex Kemp, the wideout. He's across the 40. He's up close to the 50 before finally forced out of bounds. Double reverse by the Wolverines gets them all the way to the 47-yard line of Wesley.
Yeah, Neil Davis was back at the safety position, making sure he goes out of bounds. Looked like the Knights had that played pretty well, but he was able to find a little bit of extra speed and burst around the outside.
And the Wolverines have a first down at their own 47-yard line. Look out for the pass here. Quarterback instead will hand it off to Baynard. Up the middle. He's got a big hole. He's to the 40. Cuts it back and all the way to the 32-yard line, almost the 31 of the Knights. And that is going to be a huge gain. It's going to be about 21 yards on the pickup there, and it's first down Wesley, 32 of Southern Virginia.
Well, it looks like the Knights have prepared so well for the passing attack of Wesley that they may have dropped a little bit on the running attack.
And Baynard again up the middle, stutter stepping his way close to the 27 for about a 5-yard gain. You mentioned how dangerous that Wesley passing attack can be, and that can really lighten the load as far as the defense is concerned, preparing for the running game a little bit.
It can, and once you start thinking about the running game, then the passing attack becomes more live.
And here comes the passing attack. Left side, man's open out there. It is caught for a touchdown. Touchdown by Bryce Shade. He makes the catch. The coverage was there by Richie Sparrow, but the pass from Keesack was perfect right over the shoulder of the wide receiver Shade. And so the Knights missed a field goal, had a chance to get on the scoreboard first, and that's the Wolverines with that touchdown pass getting on the scoreboard first here in the first period, 6-0 Wesley.
Well, the man principles that the Knights have, trying to jam them up at the offensive line, just not able to keep him and throw his timing off enough, as we saw Shade be able to get past Sparrow.
Eric Spidell is going to attempt the extra point now for the Wolverines, trying to make it a 7-0 football game. Got a penalty flag before the kick. Going to be most likely a 5-yarder. We'll see if it goes against the Wolverines, which would push them back 5. It's a legal procedure on Wesley. So they'll retry the extra point here with 2:42 to go first quarter, and the Knights trailing now 6-0.
Well, and we've seen Wesley go backwards continually in the first part of this first quarter. Maybe they can push them out of extra point range.
Spidell will try this one from the 15-yard line. 25-yard extra point attempt, and it is perfect. 7-0, Wesley on top. So the Knights, Mike, had a chance to take the first lead of the game, missed that field goal from 24 yards, and then Wesley goes right down the field with some big running plays and passing plays, gets the touchdown pass to the wide receiver Bryce Shade, and suddenly the Wolverines have the first lead of the game, 7-0.
Well, the defense hasn't been playing terrible at all. They've been actually one of the bright spots that the Knights have. We saw the interception by Bergman. Has got to give them some confidence going into the later parts of this first quarter and into the rest of the game, hopefully the Knights' running attack will start to find its groove, so to speak, and get going down the field, even out some of this clock, and keep that Wesley offense off the field.
I talked with Coach DePay yesterday, and he mentioned that turnovers would be key today, and the Knights were fortunate enough to get that turnover with the interception, just could not take advantage of it when it came to putting points on the scoreboard.
Well, very young team out there that the Knights have. Coach DePay in his first year coming in, installing a brand new scheme, bringing in a lot of new players. So it's going to take a little while for them to gel, but I think we've seen some flashes of what the Knights can be able to do going into the future.
And he also told me that he expected one of the tougher fights of the entire year against Wesley, which is saying a lot considering they were playing Salisbury last week. And, of course, Christopher Newport comes up on the schedule at the very end of the year on the road at Christopher Newport. And, there's some other good teams in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. Christopher Newport might find that out today when they play on the road at Rowan. And Montclair's pretty good.
Yeah, there we saw Lakeith Hopkins going up to catch the kickoff. Unfortunately, tripped up a little bit, not able to get any return on it. But you're exactly right. The New Jersey Athletic Conference is just stacked with a lot of great football teams. And what the big game today really is, as far as bragging rights and going, and whoever has a leg up, is the Rowan and Christopher Newport game.
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to come down to maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, and probably you got to win your home games, but you got to be able to pull off some road upsets. So the Knights will start this drive at the 15-yard line. They'll go to the left side on a option play, and Wesley is right there to knock down the ball carrier for about a 4 to 5 yard loss back around the 10-yard line as Sullivan took the pitch but never could get around the left end, and Wesley's defense right now is just surging on both ends and not allowing the Knights to run wide.
Well, that's the whole key, is they're surging. They're not scared of any passing attack that the Knights may have, and they're just, again, filling every hole.
Ty Jones, the quarterback, under center from the 10-yard line. Handoff. I'm not sure if Jones was actually able to get that ball over to Fry. Either way, Wesley wiped out both Jones and Fry. Looks like Fry actually took the ball, but only was able to get back to the original marked line of scrimmage on second down, back to the 10-yard line, brings up third down, and about 15 to go here for the Knights.
Well, and you'd like to get another few yards out. You don't want to be kicking out of the shadows of your own end zone.
Final minute here, final few minutes of this first period. Knights trail 7-0. And they really would like to get some yardage here and ideally pick up a first down. Otherwise, they will have to punt from their end zone. Jones to throw. He is pressured. There is a flag down. Nope, no flag. Jones is dumped back at the 5. And Jones will be pulled down back at the 5-yard line, end up losing 5 yards. And Mike, I'm telling you, he never got a chance to set up in the pocket. He no sooner got back 3 or 4 yards. Defenders were all over him.
Yeah, that was Roderick Kane, a defensive end senior from Waldorf, Maryland, just came barreling in. Don't know if there was some confusion on the offensive line of who was supposed to block who, but again, just came straight in, and Jones had nowhere to go.
And Samala will punt it away, and he is just a couple of yards away from the end line.
Yeah, he's got to make sure he doesn't step out.
See if Wesley plays for the block or the return. It bobbled by the punter. He is going to be trying to get out of the end zone. He didn't kick it, and as a result, it's going to be Wesley football inside the Southern Virginia 10. He didn't have a whole lot of time to kick. He, first of all, wanted to avoid the safety, but once he got away from that first man, Mike, he could have maybe tried to kick it 20 or 30, ideally, yards down the field, but he decided to run for it instead, and that means Wesley is going to have the ball inside the 10-yard line of the Knights.
Well, I'm sure that's what the coaching staff will talk to him about. But, again, another true freshman back there for the Knights trying to kick. And when you see the Wesley Wolverines and their attack coming right at you, I'm sure you don't have time to think of, let me get the ball off again.
So now from the 9-yard line, first and goal for the Wolverines. Baynard up the middle, 5. He's to the 2, to the 1-yard line. And no signal. Did not have a signal for a touchdown. Yep, they signal touchdown. He got into the end zone in the last second to make it 13-0. Going back to that punt by Moala, he bobbled it. Not sure if he just took his eyes off it, and obviously in a very, as you mentioned, a high-pressure situation. And then he was able to dodge that first man because it really looked like that first Wesley player was going to knock him down for a safety. Then you really have to have the presence of mind, and which is saying a lot when you see 3 or 4 of their white jerseys coming at you to kick that ball away.
Well, and again, if we want to go back in hindsight, probably did the right thing. If he tried to kick it, could have been blocked and could have had a touchdown earlier. So, you know, you look at them and you say, son, just make sure you catch the ball the first time instead of letting it bobble, because it was kind of a low snap. But I'm sure the coaching staffs are talking him through it and still patting him on the back and say, you got it next time.
And so a big turnaround here in this first quarter, just when the Knights earlier in the first period looked like they might take a 3-0 lead, Mike, and perhaps even a 7-0 lead until they had to settle for the field goal attempt. Suddenly, Wesley has put together a couple of big drives, thanks obviously to a Southern Virginia mistake on the punt. And now suddenly the Wolverines have a 14-0 lead here.
Well, the Wolverines' reputation precedes them. They have been ranked in the top 10 for the past couple of years. This is one of the first weeks they've been out of the top 25 in a couple of years. So their reputation does precede them. And you have Coach Mike Dress over on the sideline with 211 wins. He's the second most wins among active Division III coaches. Coach DePay just starting his career here at Southern Virginia, and again trying to bring in a lot of new faces. It's going to take a little while for them to gel, but you can see what he's trying to achieve. Hopefully the players buy into it, and in the next couple of years we'll see great strides and steps made by the Knights.
And Wesley kicking off with a 14-0 lead. It's going to be Lakeith Hopkins again. He'll bring it back upfield. Hopkins, nice return. Got some opening here. Hopkins, will he go the way? No, he looked like he stumbled or fell down. I hope it's no injury there. He just kind of collapsed on his own, Mike, when it looked like he might be able to go all the way. He's able to get up and walk off the field, which is good to see. Great return by Lakeith Hopkins.
Well, just what the Knights needed at that point. Hopkins with a huge return. He's averaging about 19 yards return. That will really help that average per return come back up. I'm sure he was probably thinking the same thing. I'm going in for the touchdown. Looks like he may have just drug his toe a little bit, which tripped him up.
Yeah, the way he collapsed, it almost made you think he suddenly got a cramp, but that was apparently not the case. But great return by Lakeith, and now the Knights are in business.
Well, let's see if the Knights can take advantage of the huge return by Hopkins, put them over the 50-yard line into Wolverines territory.
43-yard line is where they'll start this drive. In motion, it's Hansen driving ahead, breaks off a tackle, dives up the middle. He may go. He's to the 10-yard line and knocked down to the 9-yard line. A 34-yard run by Sean Hansen. He actually kind of ran into his own blocker, did a spin move, and almost took it 43 yards the distance. Got caught from behind at the 9. It's first and goal. Knights, 9-yard line of Wesley.
Yeah, he ran into Morgan Smith, the wide receiver for the Knights. If he didn't do that, we don't know where he would have gone. Might have been great that he did run into his own blocker because it made him reverse fields and find that huge
defense off a little bit too.
Yeah, and again, throw the timing of the defense off on that reverse of fields. So great for the Knights, getting ready to go into the second quarter here now, down inside the 10-yard line, looking to go in for the score.
And so a solid first quarter, despite a few mistakes by the Knights, because they'll start the second period, Mike, with a chance here with a first and goal from inside the Wesley 10-yard line to get on the scoreboard and put themselves right back in this football game, down by 14. We should add, it's just going to be a very big sports Saturday here at Southern Virginia. Have not really talked about this yet, but following this game, which ought to end around 4 o'clock or so, about an hour and a half later, we will have men's soccer at 5:30. We'll have that one for you against Penn State Harrisburg. And then 8 o'clock tonight, women's soccer against Penn State Harrisburg.
Yeah, huge day for outdoor sports for the Knights. Hopefully the football team can get us started off on a good foot. Some statistics in the first half. Wesley had 5 first downs to 2 for the Knights. Third down efficiency, this is where the Knights need to really start to pick up their game. They're 0 for 4, 0 for 1 on fourth down efficiencies. Total plays, the Knights have run 16 to Wesley's 13. Total yards, though, we see some discrepancies where the Wolverines have 125 to 40 for the Knights.
And turnovers have been a problem. Obviously, a pass interception that was allowed by Wesley, and I don't know if the punt being run out of the end zone and then obviously coming up short of the first down marker by the Knights, probably does not qualify as a turnover, but basically it's almost a turnover. So here we go. To start the second period, Knights will start this drive after the big run by Hanson right at the 10-yard line. First down, movement along the line, and let's see if this is going to be a legal procedure against the Knights. If it is, it's a 5-yard penalty, backs them up at the 15-yard line. Not the way they want to have it at the 10-yard line to go backwards from there. But it looks like that's going to be the call. Legal procedure against the Knights. Looked like they were maybe going to run to the right side, Mike, and somebody tried to move a little early.
Yeah, I think that was number 43, David Beatty, that got off the line just a little bit too quick. A little anxious to try to get downfield and hit his blocking assignment.
Turns it into 1st and 15. And when you're a running team like the Knights currently are, that's tough to try to go in from 15 yards away as opposed to 10 yards.
Well, there we saw number 45, Michael Carroll, come in, who's been a great receiver for the Knights the past 2 years.
He's lined up to the left. And Jones runs it back to the right and is hit at the 12-yard line. Picked up maybe 3 and knocked down near the 12. Looks like they'll put him closer to the 13, so a gain of about 2 brings up second down from there at the 13-yard line. Knights will try to get this ball in the end zone. If they can't by 4th down, they'll have a choice to go for it on 4th down by 14 points, or to try a field goal attempt.
Well, and again, anytime you get down inside the red zone, you have to be able to come away with some points. We saw the field goal attempt earlier go low and to the right. Hopefully this time we can get the touchdown and get the extra point to bring this back to a 7-point lead for the Wolverines.
Jones tries to run it to the left, and he is hit at the 14 and knocked down by a couple of Wesley defenders, including Ben Robinson, the linebacker who came in, knocked him down for about a yard loss. Looks like they'll put him down closer to the 13-yard line, which should bring up 3rd down. And so the Knights continuing to stay on the ground. Now we'll see on 3rd down if they throw the football into the end zone.
Well, that's been the modus operandi for the Knights all season long. We get that run in the game established. Unfortunately, everybody that the Knights play against right now understand that too, and so they just fill gaps.
Ball's back at the 15. It's 3rd down. Hanson, the running back. Looks like maybe a timeout will be taken here. Knights will have a chance to talk it over. This could be 4-down territory, Mike, on 3rd down and goal from the 15-yard line. A chance here, if you can maybe get it within the 5-yard line, to take a shot at it on 4th down.
And that was Wesley that called the timeout. Knights must have lined up in a formation that they haven't scouted, caused Wesley to call the timeout. Great job by the offensive coordinator of the Knights to come up with some new things that Wesley hasn't been able to see on tape.
And Wesley obviously recognizes here that this is a crucial defensive stand for them. If they can hold here and not allow any points, they remain firmly in control of this game. But if Southern Virginia can go in and get a touchdown here, Mike, it's anybody's ball game here in the second period.
Well, that's what I'm sure that's what the coaches from Wesley were thinking was, hey, if we let the Knights have some type of breathing room here, if they start to get their confidence up, we're playing at their home field. Anything could happen, and with one loss already, one loss that the Wesley Wolverines already had that they didn't really count on, that would really put a damper into any type of postseason ideas that they may have.
Good crowd on hand today, and it's a good thing that those 2 days did not occur here on Saturday.
Yeah, great day outside. We see a little bit of blue skies. It's kind of overcast, so the sun's not beating down. Wonderful day for football.
3rd down and goal for the Knights, 15-yard line. Jones has a man in motion. Hands it off. Hanson up the middle. Short gain. Sean Hanson got close to the 12-yard line. Now it's 4th and goal from the 12. It would be about a 29-yard field goal attempt, and the Knights will try another field goal with Horman, it looks like.
Well, and what they did with that run was not only because they didn't break it, it put the ball in the middle of the field, so it's going to be a better attempt for Horman now, right in the middle of the field.
With Morgan Smith the holder, Horman trying this field goal, 29-yarder on the way, up, and it is perfect. And the Knights get on the scoreboard with a 29-yard field goal by Horman.
Well, and the Knights had to come away with some points there. You can't waste a return like Lakeith Hopkins had and not get any points out of something like that.
So that drive, again, set up, Mike, as you mentioned, by Lakeith Hopkins kickoff return to the 43 of Wesley, and then that big run of about 33 yards by Hanson. And the Knights get the 29-yard field goal by Horman to make it 14-3. And now we'll see if the Knights defense can put the clamps down on this Wesley offense and try to keep the spread at no more than 11 points right now.
Well, and that has to give not only the offense some confidence, but the defense some confidence too of, hey, if we can get the ball back, the offense is going to put some points on the board. And it's against a team that has been to the Division III playoffs for the last couple of years and made it deep into the playoffs.
It just seems like every time Wesley would get to the Final Four, I guess they'd run into a Whitewater or a Mount Union, usually Mount Union.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you run into one of those two teams, you know that you've run into somebody because those two teams just take Division III football to another level.
And no surprise, before the game today, we were looking at the D3 top 25 rankings, and you know who's sitting atop at number 1 and number 2, huh?
Yeah, Mount Union and Wisconsin Whitewater. And again, they're on that collision course trying to see who's going to have the bragging rights for this year.
Although there's a lot of good Wisconsin teams out there in the top 25 poll, heck, in the top 10 with Platteville and Oshkosh. And I know, those other Wisconsin teams, they probably get sick and tired of hearing about how good Whitewater is. Here comes the kickoff, short kickoff, field by Wesley around the 15-yard line. Good coverage by the Knights on the left side, and they wrap up the return man at the 30-yard line. Several Knights were there to make the play, including Solivi and also Richie Sparrow, among others. And so the Wolverines offense back onto the field. They really have not been able to get their passing game underway. I know we've talked about how dangerous it could be against the wide receivers that Wesley have, the cornerbacks for Southern Virginia, trying to make sure they don't let anybody get behind them, and trying to make sure that when they have one-on-one coverage that they can handle their opposing number, the receiver.
Well, they've been concentrating so much on trying not to let the receivers get behind them that they forgot about Baynard, the running back.
And Kiesak, the quarterback's going to take it straight ahead. He angles off to the right. Good gain. He's to the 40. He is finally dragged down from behind around the 45-yard line by linebacker Marcus Garcia, who came from a good distance away to try to hold down the quarterback, but not until he picked up about 15 yards.
Yeah, and that's something that that Wesley really doesn't do a lot of, is have the quarterback run.
So Kiesak with a big run, got to the 44-yard line, picked up about 14. First down Wesley from there. Got a motion man, that's Cap Miller. He gets the head off. He works his way close to midfield before being dumped right there. Got about 6 on the carry.
Yeah, it looks like that was number 19, Joshua Christopher, in first on the take for the Knights.
About a 5-yard gain. They mark him at the 49, second down, and about 5 to go for the Wolverines at their own 49-yard line. Wesley on top here, 14-3. Kiesak will turn, hand it off to Baynard, and he's got a first down. He's across the 45 of the Knights, and he's down to the 43 of Southern Virginia. Jamar Baynard, 6 foot, 210 pounds. Big kid, has speed, Mike, but he can run with authority too. Got to the 44 of the Knights.
He runs downhill. Not a lot of juking and jiving with him.
Knights defense trying to make a stand. Kiesak wants to throw left side. Waits a little bit, now fires out there. And caught by the receiver over the hands of a sprawling defender. Richie Sparrow had the coverage, but it was Bryce Shade who earlier caught a touchdown pass. That ball just over Sparrow's hands and into the receiver's hands. And it almost looked like for a second, as Wesley has the ball at the 3-yard line now, that Sparrow might get an interception out of that.
Yeah, it looks like the Spade just was able to outreach, or Shade was just able to outreach Sparrow.
And Baynard goes into the end zone, it looks like, for a touchdown. So Shade makes the big catch. And in for the touchdown it goes Baynard, and now it's 20-3 Wesley. So just like that, a couple of big plays by the Wolverines, and they've upped that lead now to 17, possibly 18 if they can connect on the extra point.
Well, and Baynard is really setting up the passing game for Kiesak. You know, all those runs that are just gapping yard after yard after yard. Then you start to look at trying to pull some linebackers in or defensive backs in to help stop him, and you get the big play.
Spidell, extra point try. Low snap. Kick is on the way. It's up. And it's good. 21-3 now. Wesley 18-point lead, and now it's up to the Knights offense to try to take it back the other way.
Well, you want to give your defense some rest now. They've just been marched down the field. They just got gapped for a huge long play that seems to have plagued the Knights for the past several years, is giving up the big play at the most inopportune time. Now the offense really has to give the defense a chance to rest, and they need to control some time.
I mentioned this is a very busy sports weekend. We've got Wesley Southern Virginia football right now, followed by men's soccer at 5:30 against Harrisburg, women's soccer at 8 o'clock tonight against Harrisburg, and of course yesterday, Mike, women's volleyball. Knights played very well, but lost a 3-set match to Christopher Newport, and CNU might well wind up as the best volleyball team in the Capital Conference. Long way to go there.
Well, they have become a juggernaut over the past couple of years at CNU. They're ranked lower than we saw Mary Washington come in, but I do believe that the talent level is a little bit different there between CNU and Mary Washington.
Had some dominant players, as you mentioned going in a couple of days ago. You mentioned look out for CNU's dominant players in the front line. They had a few of those. Here's the return by the Knights on the kickoff. Another good return, 30-yard line, 35-yard line, all the way across the 40-yard line. Great return by the Knights as they're able to get that football all the way up to around the 41-yard line as Caden Knight, the 5'10" freshman from Midlothian, Virginia, the freshman running back. Another great return by Knight here and Hopkins earlier, and so the Knights have excellent field position, Mike, just across their 40-yard line. And now we'll see if the offense can take it right down the field and try to get on the scoreboard again.
Well, the special teams are trying to put the Knights in great position or field position. Now it's up to the offense to carry that through.
Fry is the tailback. He'll get the carry up the middle, worked his way to the 43, and then knocked down right there, picked up a couple of yards. Fry came into the ball game, leading rusher for the Knights. Had an outstanding game in the opener against Earlham.
Again, there's just a lot of scouting that goes on at Division III, and people are starting to pick up on this triple option offense.
And Jones wants to throw and overthrows the intended receiver. He was trying to hit Morgan Smith, who kind of got held up by the defensive back. Some contact there, but no flags, and so now it's third down coming up for the Knights. Third down, about 7 to go.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of timing that was going on there, and Morgan Smith just got bumped off his route just enough to mess up the timing.
Knights, to get a first down, have to get to the 49-yard line of Wesley.
Well, again, it would be great for the Knights to stay on offense for an extended period of time to give that defense some rest.
Third down, 7. We'll see if the Knights throw or run here. They try to run the football, and Wesley's defense swarms in to knock down Hanson for a loss. Again, before he almost got the ball, Mike, there were 2 or 3 defenders just pouring through.
And again, the Wolverines just pinning their ears back and saying, listen, we're going to go take care of any type of run. The Knights need to come up with something that's going to play on that over-aggressiveness of the Wolverines.
And not a whole lot you can do there. Maybe a draw play, maybe some sort of very short pass as soon as you get the ball from center, some sort of maybe slant pass.
Yeah, or a screen pass or anything that would cause the Wolverines' rush to slow just a little bit.
Here comes the punt. And Moala bobbles the ball again, and he is going to be hit. No, he got away. He's to the 30-yard line. He's to the 35. He's to the 40. He is still on his feet. Well, look at this run all the way to the 48-yard line, but he's going to be shy, unbelievably, of the first down marker by just 3 yards.
Yeah, great individual effort. But again, looked like he took his eyes off the snap just for a second.
And again, after he got away from a couple of guys, he had the opportunity, I guess, to punt it downfield. But just running the football, breaking, well, by my count, 3 or 4 tackles, Mike, and almost got to the 49-yard line of Wesley, but ended up going down into zone 48, just about 3 yards shy of the first down marker. They'll mark it at the 47. Wesley takes over right there at the Knights' 47-yard line. Well,
again, another true freshman. I'm sure he was trying to make up for the last time that he bobbled the ball also.
Kizak, the quarterback, hands it off. This is the other running back, E.J. Ellis, and he gets to the 40-yard line. E.J. Lee make that to the 40-yard line, picked up about 7. E.J. Lee, backup tailback, 5'8", 185 pounds, freshman.
And you can see the difference between the two running backs that Wesley has. Lee a little bit more on the small side, probably a little bit more on the scat back side also.
Yeah, for some reason when I look at him, I think spark plug. He picked up about 7 that time to the 41-yard line. And they'll go to the ground game again. Right side, big hole. Broken tackle, and finally knocked out of bounds. Goes that backup tailback, E.J. Lee, the freshman, and Wesley's got a first down. Looks like around the 32-yard line of Southern Virginia.
It looked like Bronson Burcham was over there to help push him out of bounds.
Knights defense trying to make a stand here. Trying to make sure that Wesley doesn't get too far in front, and right now it's an 18-point lead for the Wolverines. 32-yard line, man in motion. That is going to be Shade. Shade to the right side. Got a step. He's to the 10-yard line, inside the 10 and down near the 7.
Well, and a strong tackle there by Cooper Clark. If he wasn't there, Shade would have gone in for the easy touchdown.
Yeah, Neil Davis got up a little slow, was able to get off the field under his own power, but it looked like he was maybe holding his right arm a little bit.
Well, we never like to see anybody go off the field with any type of.
Looks like a penalty flag is going to wipe out that huge gain. Wesley has had a lot of penalties, especially back in the first period, but that's another penalty that wipes out a huge gain.
Yeah, blocking the back, and that's just something that you don't want to see if you're the Wesley Wolverines, but maybe that's the reason why Shade was able to go so far down the field.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. So with the penalty, the ball's put out near the 39-yard line, almost the 40 of Southern Virginia. Remains first down. Back at the 39 of SVU. Quarterback Keesack from the shotgun. With E.J. Lee, the running back. Keesack wants to throw deep down the middle, overthrows the receiver. A couple of Knights there on the coverage. Kemp, the intended receiver, and it looked like Caden Knight and also Bronson Burcham had the coverage.
Yeah, and there was something that happened there because Kemp was wide open.
But that's not the first time we've seen Keesack overthrow an open receiver.
Well, and again, Keesack comes in with some great stats, but not a lot of experience over the past couple of years because of the great quarterback play that the Wesley Wolverines have had.
Second down and long from the shotgun. Keesack going to run a draw play. 35-yard line, 30, breaks the tackle, got to the 25-yard line. Tackle made there by Richie Sparrow, got him around the ankles, but not before the quarterback picked up some yardage.
Well, now the defensive backs now are having to do double duty. They have to spy on Keesack and also try to keep their designed wide receiver in front of them.
Lee on a stutter step, and he is hit and dragged down. Great play by that Knights defense to push the running back and maybe not allow him to get a first down, as it looked like Ciliata made a huge play, Mike. 2 or 3 other defenders right there. They wrapped him up at the line of scrimmage, shoved him back, and now it's 4th and short for Wesley. They're going to go for it. The quarterback runs off to the right, breaks a tackle, gets the first down. He's inside the 20, and he's down close to the 16-yard line. It looked like for a split second the Knights had a chance to corral him at the line of scrimmage, Mike, but a good move to the left after starting off to the right went Keesack, and he was able to get the necessary yardage.
Yeah, Ciliata is starting to really hold his own in the middle, clogging things up. Now the Knights are going to have to string it out.
Lee short gain that time. Good bursting tackle by Skylar Clower, the freshman who came bursting in. He had some big tackles last week against Salisbury.
Yeah, Clower is doing a great job at linebacker, making sure, trying to keep everything in front of him. That's what the Knights defensive pressure is all about. Keep everybody in front, and if the defensive lineman can plug up the holes, it's going to allow the linebackers to really clean anything up on the running game.
It is second down. 16-yard line is where the Wolverines are at, the SVU 16. It's going to be Lee again up the middle. He's to the 5. He's inside the 5 to the 3. Gang tackled right there by several Knights, including Neil Davis again, but not until Lee, the backup tailback, got it all the way inside the 5, and it's first and goal Wesley.
Yeah, it looked like Cooper Clark also had a hand in that tackle.
Keesack before he got the snap, it looked like timeout was taken by the Knights. They wanted to talk it over and give their defense a little breather here, trying to make sure that Wesley doesn't get into the end zone to make this a 25-point lead.
Well, Wesley started to go tempo and making sure that they ran up to the line and wanted everything to go a little bit faster than what the Knights really wanted to do on the defensive side.
Well, I'll tell you, they got E.J. Lee, the freshman backup tailback out there, and he seems to be running with authority just every bit as much as Baynard, the senior running back, did throughout this first half.
Yeah, Lee came in only averaging about 29 yards per game, able to go beyond that so far in this drive.
And the Knights really would love to get a goal line stand here, Mike, because they fall behind 28-3, and we still got about 5 to 6 minutes left until halftime. It's going to be tough to make the comeback. Well,
again, the ideal would be not allow any points, but if you can't do that, just giving up a field goal would definitely be a win for the defense.
Knights will be on the road next Saturday in football, playing on the road at Montclair State. I know that, Rowan in New Jersey, and obviously Wesley and Salisbury and CNU get a lot of the publicity, but Montclair is very, very good too. I think they beat Rowan last weekend, and they got a big win in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, knocking off Rowan last week.
Yeah, anybody can beat anybody in any given day. That's why it's so important to take care of your home field.
Let's see if they run it on first and goal. Got some extra blockers in there for Lee. Lee takes it over to the right side and gets into the end zone. It's 27-3 Wesley now. It looks like that play was maybe going to start to the middle, and then he just saw the huge opening, Mike, to the right, and obviously took it that way.
Well, there's a huge kick-out block by one of the wide receivers that really sprung it for Lee going to the outside. The Knights doing a better job on the defensive side of plugging up anything in the middle. As we saw Baynard able to take advantage of that. Lee hasn't been able to find a lot of running room going through the middle.
So Spidell is on for another extra point, his 4th attempt today. Knights have 1 out of 2 when it comes to field goals, and Spidell, Wesley's place kicker, trying to make it 4 for 4 on PATs, and he nails it, 28-3. Wesley on top here with just a little over 6 minutes to go here in the second period before halftime.
Well, Wesley scores on 9 plays for the Wolverines, 47 yards. They started that drive with 10:48. Take it down to 6:27 now, so about 4 minutes and 20 seconds they took off the clock.
And we'll see what the Knights offense can do. If they could try to put together a drive, maybe chew up the clock a little bit and try to score right before halftime. We mentioned the Knights are playing on the road next Saturday, on the road at Montclair. Then they come back for a couple of back-to-back home games, Mike, on the 15th against Rowan. On the 22nd, it's going to be homecoming with William Patterson. Then back on the road at Keene on the 29th, and then your final home game, College of New Jersey, November the 5th, and the final game of the season, November the 12th on the road at Christopher Newport. And going to be interesting to see how this New Jersey Athletic Conference standings play out, because Newport is playing at Rowan today. We'll try to get you score updates throughout the day today, but we haven't really had one of the top heavyweights of the New Jersey Athletic Conference win a big road game yet, and this is a good test and a good chance, I guess, for CNU to go on the road and maybe perhaps win at Rowan today.
Yeah, CNU can beat Rowan at Rowan. That really gives them the upper hand for the rest of the year.
Kickoff, short kickoff, 13-yard line, picked up on the Knights, brought back to the 20-yard line. Good return again by 40-yard line. That's Caden Knight all the way to the 45. The Knights' best plays today have come on special teams kickoff returns. 2 now by Knight, 1 earlier by Hopkins.
Well, special teams really, again, trying to do their job, setting the Knights offense up in great position. Now the Knights offense has to find some momentum. They got to start to click together and start chewing up some yards, get some scores.
And we'll see what the Knights offense decides to do here. Sure, they would love to get the running game going, chew up the clock, maybe take 5 to 6 minutes off the clock and work it down the field. They are 57 yards away from the end zone. Ty Jones, quarterback, under center. Man in motion. That is going to be the running back,
John Harris.
And John gets to the outside but runs into several Wesley defenders and goes down shy of the 40-yard line. And again, the Knights try to run wide, Mike, and Wesley's defense just not going to allow that right now.
Well, the Wesley's defense is really playing disciplined. They're not really crashing down. They're crashing through, playing in their layers and not being overly aggressive in any area.
Loss on the play. Second down, long coming up here for Southern Virginia. Loss of about 3. Second and 13. There's a pitch. Going to be an option play. Phillips going to try to throw it downfield for Beatty. He's got it. 15-yard line. Beatty made the grab, goes down, lost the ball, but going to be after I think he hit the ground.
Yeah, they're saying he was on the ground.
Going to be the 12-yard line. So Beatty got behind the defender. And how about the pass play by, I guess you could say, former quarterback Brian Phillips, who is serving as a wideout. He threw it right on the money to Beatty, and now the Knights are in business with a gadget play.
Well, that's what we talked about earlier, of something that you have to do to slow down that rush of the Wolverines. The Knights bring it out. The great call by the offensive coordinator for the Knights, being able to find a Beatty wide open down the field.
12-yard line. Phillips in motion. Handoff to Fry. Working his way to the 11 and pushed back right there. And how about Beatty, well known for his basketball skills, but able to make the catch over the shoulder too.
Well, and if that ball would have been thrown out a little bit further in front of Beatty, maybe could have caught it in stride, had at least 2 steps on the defensive back, we might be talking about an extra point right now.
It is second down coming up for the Knights. Only picked up about a yard on that carry by Fry. Hanson is the tailback now.
But that special play really put the Knights in great position.
11-yard line. Man in motion is Phillips. Jones throws. Got his receiver. It's going to be Hanson, the tailback. He's into the end zone for a Southern Virginia touchdown.
And again, Wesley's done a great job of stopping the run. I think that's all they've really concentrated on. Any type of play-action pass could find receivers wide open.
Well, you talked about ways to really throw off the Wesley defense, Mike, and we've seen it that last drive. The option pass by Phillips to Beatty, and then Jones, a little trickeration going around the left side. Looked like he might run, but he then had Hanson, the tailback, coming out of the backfield for the catch. And now the extra point try. High snap. Smith pulls it down, rolls right, wants to throw, no one to throw to. Finally, it's going to be knocked out of bounds. And so no extra point, and it's going to remain 28-9. So Morgan Smith, the holder, did the right thing, Mike. If he couldn't get the ball down for the extra point try, roamed out to the right, hoping somebody might be there in the back of the end zone, but no one was, and he had to go out of bounds. So it's 28-9.
Yeah, exactly, a smart play, not trying to force anything. If he would have just thrown it up for grabs, you never know. Tip play, Wesley comes down with it and can return it.
So it's 28-9 now, Mike, with 4:29 to go, and it's up to the defense now not to allow any points before halftime. Ideally, maybe come up with a turnover and give the offense one more shot at it.
Well, a 3-and-out would be huge. Any type of turnover would be huge for the Knights right now.
Don't want to have happen what last week against Salisbury, where you let somebody get behind you on basically a simple fly pattern. Especially if it's one-on-one coverage, you don't want the wide receivers to blow by you on a long bomb attempt.
Well, plus the offense is feeling really good about itself right now. You need to get the ball back into their hands as soon as possible without giving up any points to Wesley.
And so the Knights will kick off. Horman ready to kick off here, the junior. He's ready to boot it away as the Knights in this first half of action after getting shut out by Salisbury last week with a field goal and a touchdown, and also a missed field goal as well. Here comes the kickoff, short kickoff, just around the 20-yard line for Wesley. Brought back by Cat Miller, brought it back to the 33. That's where the Wolverines will start.
Well, it was a short kickoff, but it allowed the Knights to really get down and cover it because Horman puts it up so high. So instead of kicking it long and out kicking your coverage, Horman is just kicking it to a point to where the coverage can converge on the runner.
And now we'll see what the Wolverines offense decides to do. If they throw or run here, they've got plenty of time on the clock. Just over 4 minutes to go till halftime. And they've got Baynard, the senior running back out there.
Well, again, the Knights defense really needs to stiffen up. A 3-and-out or a turnover right now would be huge, giving it back to a confident offensive side.
Keesack has no backs in the backfield with him, but he's capable of running the quarterback draw, so look out for that. 31-yard line. Keesack will run the draw play. And he's to the 40, and he's all the way to the 43-yard line. Picked up 12.
Yeah, great call there, Jim, is spread the Knights out, looking to keep the ball on the ground, keep the the clock running. The Knights not able to converge early enough on them.
There's a 12-yard pickup. It's first down for Southern Virginia Ford, or for the Wesley Wolverines at the 43-yard line of Wesley. Now Kiesack's going to throw. Wings it over the middle. Threw it behind his intended receiver. Shade was open, Mike. Had a couple of defenders behind him, and that pass was behind him.
Yeah, it looks like Kiesack had to move a little bit in the pocket. Might have had someone right in his throwing lane because he looked like he kind of sidearmed the ball a little bit coming out.
Incompletion stops the clock. Still plenty of time for Wesley on the clock, and they are now 57 yards away from the end zone. Second down, 10 to go. Knights looking to get some pressure on Kiesack, too. They have not had a sack yet. Here comes the pressure, and he throws it away prematurely. No receivers really open, and that time, Mike, the Knights really put the defensive pressure on him.
Yeah, we saw the Knights come crashing down, especially from the left-hand side, in on Kiesack. You called it. No real pressure on him. Defense dials up a blitz.
And now it's third down and 10 to go. Knights are trying to force a punt here if they can stop them on 3rd and 10. Timeout going to be taken.
Yeah, it looks
really
like
a big play of the game here, Mike, because if the Knights can hold without allowing any yardage, force a punt, then the offense maybe has about 3.5 minutes to work with. Might be quite a distance to cover, obviously, but a chance, if nothing else, to go into halftime only down by 19. And if you can maybe come up with a big play, try to get this thing down close to single digits.
Well, we saw the Knights offense able to pull off a big play earlier in the quarter when they went in for the touchdown. Again, if they can get the ball back without allowing any points, get this down in distance to their liking, everything will be going to a very confident offense.
And, you know, Coach DePay has to be pleased when he looks at some of these stats, we don't have time possession, I don't think, but when you look at total plays, it's almost even.
Yeah, 29 for Wesley, 27 for the Knights. Again, average or the total yards, 234 for Wesley, 106 for the Knights. But the Knights, again, starting to get confidence on the offensive side, and we could see this turn around.
So it's third down and 10 for Wesley at the 43-yard line of the Wolverines. Let's see if they throw here. They've got Boehnert, the tailback, alongside the quarterback, Kiesack. Got to respect the draw, Mike, even though you would think they would throw here. Kiesack will throw, and he's going to wing it upfield, and he's got a man at stride. That is Shade making the catch and going down after being hit, but well thrown pass by Kiesack, and Bryce Shade, the senior wide receiver, with a big play.
And tackle was made there by Joshua Christopher of the Knights. Again, another big play come back to hurt the Knights defense. Looks like they had things really going their way, and then the Wolverines bring out the big play.
Down to the 12-yard line of the Knights. That was a 45-yard gain, and now they're going to throw for the end zone and overthrow the intended receiver, trying to hit Xavier Allen out there, another senior receiver. Coverage on the play by the Knights, Burcham, and it's going to bring up second down and 10.
Yeah, nice. Wesley tries to go for that little fade route. Well defended. It had to be a perfectly thrown ball, but thrown well out of bounds.
This is a huge defensive stand here, Mike. The Knights really trying to go into halftime, making sure Wesley doesn't have anything more than 28 on the board. Boehnert is the senior tailback alongside Kiesack, the cornerback. The quarterback will go shotgun, and he'll hand off to Boehnert up the middle. And he rambles all the way down near the 2-yard line before he's hauled down from behind. Several Knights making the play, including Neil Davis again, but when your defensive backs are making the tackle on the tailback in the secondary, that's never a good thing.
No, and especially when the tailback is 6 foot, 210 pounds.
And Boehnert will run it up the middle, and he is in for another touchdown for Wesley. Their 5th touchdown of this first half, and that was a big touchdown for Wesley after the Southern Virginia touchdown, Mike, to come right back down the field and score to make it 34-9.
Well, and the Knights had them right where they wanted them. It was 3rd and 10. Looked like the Knights were going to be able to pull off a 3 and out or 4 and out, and a big play comes back to haunt them.
And you mentioned, Mike, too, earlier, that's the danger when you go basically one-on-one coverage. And so now the extra point try by the Wolverines. Spidell has already hit 4 extra points, and he nails that one to make it 35-9. Now the Knights still have enough time on the clock to try to work back upfield, Mike, but Now, right now, here the second quarter, nearing halftime, they're down by 26 again.
Well, the special teams on kickoff return has really given the Knights a lot of field to work with. They've done a great job in returning, and I'm sure that's what they're hoping for right now. Set the Knights offense up to where they can go down in this last 3 minutes and 7 seconds in the second quarter and get a score.
Caden Knight has had two big returns. Of course, earlier in the game, Hopkins had a big kickoff return. If you're Wesley, are you doing anything different here on your kickoff coverage?
Well, you would hope that your defenders would set their edge, because the Knights are getting through that edge and going around the outside. For the Knights, it's just been some great individual blocking and some good vision by the returners.
And we'll see what Wesley does if they kick basically towards the side of the field, which has happened on the returns, I think, by Hopkins. Once by Hopkins, twice by Caden Knight. Wesley right now with its biggest lead of the game at 26 points. They led 28-3. Southern Virginia got a touchdown, missed the extra point, couldn't get the extra point to go, and then the Wolverines got a touchdown with the conversion. So this is their biggest lead of the game so far, 35-9.
Well, the danger is if you try to kick away from somebody, you kick it out of bounds, and then that sets the offense up even closer.
Here comes the kickoff downfield. Over the head this time of Knight. He goes back to the 1 yard line, picks it up, going to try to bring it back, and gets only to the 8 yard line.
Well, the only thing I can think of why he went back to pick it up is that he may have touched it as it went over, bounced over his head. Otherwise, just let it go through the end zone for the touchback.
He picked it up at the 1. I'm not sure. Would that have had enough momentum to get in, you think?
I think so.
Yeah. So now the Knights will have to go 91 yards. They're at their own 9 yard line. And their other danger here, Mike, is not running the clock out if you don't get a first down here. And, you know, the one thing obviously you don't want to have is a turnover here. But Wesley, I'm sure, will use any timeouts they have left. And they will try to obviously prevent a first down and maybe try to get the ball back on Southern Virginia's side of the 50 with maybe even less than a minute to go.
Well, you never want to get it back to an offense that has a quick strike ability that Wesley has.
Jones, the quarterback. Simple handoff up the middle, but Wesley right there to wrap up Hanson.
Yeah, it looks like that was number 96 in there on the play. Vincent Ebron, a sophomore defensive end.
And right now the Knights are maybe trying to run the clock a little bit.
Unfortunately for him, Wesley's letting the clock go,
Maybe
not trying to call any timeouts.
Yeah, saving their timeouts for offense, I would imagine.
Well, the Knights need to pick up a first down. Not only pick up a first down, but we'd like to see them go down and score. But if they can pick up a first down, now Wesley has to start using timeouts, unless they just want the clock to run out and go into halftime.
Now, I would imagine Wesley wants to get more points on the board. From the 28 yard line, the Knights will go straight up the middle again. Got back only to the 9 yard line. And now it looks like the Wolverines will take one of those timeouts.
Yeah, Seth Hansen with the carry, and he goes limping off just a little bit. One of those big defensive linemen fell on him. I'm sure it may have just knocked a little bit of the wind out of him.
And so the Wolverines are banking on a third down. Maybe a stop here, Mike. And if that happens with the punt play, they should have about a minute to a minute and a half on the clock left for their offense. And unless they can really get off a booming punt, they should be on the SVU side of the 50.
Well,
and of course, as you mentioned, with that quick strike offense, with the arm that Kizak has and all his receivers that are available to him on Southern Virginia's side of the 50-yard line, that could easily result in 6 points.
Well, their last scoring drive was 68 yards in a minute and 22 seconds. So there's some issues that the Knights defense really has to start thinking about now also.
And the Knights had actually gotten this down to a 19-point lead at 28-9, but Wesley came right back with a touchdown. And you know the Wolverines want to get one last score on the board before halftime.
Well, right now the Knights are thinking about getting a first down. They have to get this first down right now, or else Wesley take another timeout and then have the 2-minute warning for themselves.
Jones wants to throw. He throws up for Beatty. Beatty he may be called for a push-off.
Yeah, there's going to be something called.
This might be offensive or it might be defensive. It looked like Beatty was pushing up, but the defensive back was too. It definitely is going to be a penalty on either the offense or the defense.
Yep. I think the field judge just signaled Beatty had pushed off.
In which case I would imagine Wesley will decline it and force the punt, unless they pick up the flag.
You'd think they'd want to decline it, but you never know. Push them back again, maybe make the Knights throw another pass and take a chance on an interception, which would be shorter field distance than a punt.
Looks like it may go against Beatty and the Knights. It is offensive pass interference on the Knights, and it is declined. So Wesley will force the Knights into a punt here. And as a result of that pass play, not a running play, Mike, Wesley's actually going to have a little bit more time to work with now.
Now, Moala really has to do a great job of watching the snap into his hands and getting a punt off. You don't want to give a short kick. And here's a new kicker out.
Yep. Looks like Horman.
Yep, Horman back for the punt.
And he will go ahead and kick. High kick. See if he got some distance. It is fielded by Shade, and he brings it back to the 30 before they gang tackle him right there. His helmet comes off, too.
Yeah, so he's going to have to go out.
Yeah. Good coverage by the Knights, but because of the short field, Wesley will start this drive at their own 30. And, Mike, they still have a little over 2 minutes to work with, and we do have a penalty flag on the field.
Yeah, so we'll wait while they sort this out. But, again, short field for Wesley to work with. 2 minutes to go on the clock. We talked about a 68-yard drive they just had for a touchdown. The Knights defense really has to start thinking about some different things that they can do to slow this Wolverine attack down.
And it really shows you how these games can get out of control quickly. I know earlier in the second quarter, Mike, it was 28-9. We were talking about stopping Wesley and maybe the offense trying to go down the field and maybe getting within maybe single digits by halftime. And instead, with the penalty, the ball's at the 15 now. And the Knights are in danger, instead of maybe single digits down at halftime, maybe being 33 down at halftime.
And that face mask penalty really doesn't help the Knights in this situation.
So it's first down Wesley, 15-yard line of Southern Virginia. Baynard, senior tailback, alongside Kiesak, the quarterback, and it's going to be Baynard. Nope, Kiesak's going to take it. He gets his feet knocked out from under him at the 11-yard line. And that was Cloward again, among others, knocking down the quarterback after about a 4-yard gain. So this game really got out of control here in the second period quickly, Mike. 28-9. If the Knights can make a defensive stop, maybe they go into halftime with a touchdown and work the lead down to 12. Instead, Wesley's got a chance here to up this lead unbelievably to 33.
Well, we talked about a contrast of styles. The Knights want to do ball control, and Wesley wants to take it down the field quickly.
And Baynard looks like he is in for another touchdown. Baynard scores from about 11 yards away to make it 41-9.
And
Baynard,
a
minute 28 to go.
Just a physical downhill runner. You see him not trying to make a lot of fancy moves and get to the outside. He sees an opening, puts his foot into the turf, and takes off.
And so Wesley exploding for the points here in the second period, now on top 41-9. And Spidell trying for his 6th extra point of this first half. And he nails it to make it 42-9. So the Knights defense played very tough last week, only allowing Salisbury 35, only 14 in the second half, and a lot of those points came late in the second period last week when the game went from basically 0-0 to 21-0 at halftime, and Wesley College has really pulled away here, Mike, in the second period.
Well, you see an experienced team versus an inexperienced team. Wesley College, great depth, great upperclassmen leadership. The Knights really trying to rebuild under Coach DePay's first year here, and the seniors and junior wide receivers are taking advantage of the freshman defensive backs that the Knights have. We should see some maturation of these defensive backs throughout the rest of the year, and then coming into next year and the following year. By the third year, I'm pretty sure that Coach DePay and his staff will have this all figured out and have the right type of talent that they want, and not just the right type of talent, but seasoned talent. So these freshmen, when they become juniors, should be able to play with and stay with any type of offense that they see.
Yeah, this is very similar to what you've talked about, I think, Mike, in other sports. Lacrosse comes to mind, but a lot of other sports where you've got maybe a lot of young players, playing it together for the first time. And it's just, as you mentioned, a maturation process where it's going to take some time for these teams to gel. Kickoff to Caden Knight. Fields it at the 11-yard line. Brings it back. We'll see if he can get a good return. Nope, not this time. As that time the Wolverines were ready for him and knock him down around the 25-yard line. So we'll see if the Knights offense comes back on the field, maybe runs a few running plays to play it safe and takes this 33-point deficit into the locker room.
Yeah, I would believe that you would want to try to run the clock out here and not let the Wolverines have the ball with any time because of that quick strike capability they have. Go in, make some adjustments, and let's see the Knights come out in the second half and not really think that they're going to come out and win the game on the first play, but slowly get back into the game.
Fry is the tailback behind Ty Jones, who's gone all the way at quarterback. And pitches the ball to Harris. Harris, good gain, 30-yard line. John Harris, little guy, all the way across the 35, and he's up at the 36-yard line. Well, John Harris has had a good career here at Southern Virginia. He's a junior, been playing solidly for several years now. Not a big guy, Mike. Might be the smallest guy actually out there, but he is a gamer.
He is, and great job of running, finding the openings. He's come in averaging about 18.3 yards per game rushing, so maybe want to try to get him the ball a little bit more after that huge gain.
And they run the option to the right this time. Pitch it off, and it's going to be a gain up to the 40 this time by Reed. Shea Reed on the carry. Shea Reed has had some nice runs this year, too, early in this 2016 season. Had a nice run last week against Salisbury.
Well, and you see just a constant changing of these running backs, trying to keep the fresh legs in. What's going to happen is the offensive line starts gelling together. Then that onslaught of running back after running back after running back will start to wear the defense down.
Jones under center, has a man in motion, hands it off to Hanson. We got a flag down.
I thought that someone jumped a little bit early off of Wesley.
Ball at the 40-yard line. And the clock just a few seconds away from going into halftime here.
But again, the way the ball control offense needs to work is you want to get into the legs of the defensive players. That offensive line has to start gelling together. Again, very young and inexperienced offensive line as far as working together. As we get further into the season, further into next year, we should be able to see them be a little bit more dominant.
This is one of those games, Mike, you just mentioned a few minutes ago. You got to go into the locker room, come out second half, and really just picture a 0-0 scoreboard. Not really think about making a huge comeback as much as, trying to play as good as you can and maybe outplay Wesley in the second half and kind of build from that for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, that's the key. Win the second half.
So after the penalty is assessed, Knights have it. Just 13 seconds left until halftime. Ty Jones has gone all the way at quarterback. Last week against Salisbury, they brought in, at times, Honeycutt to throw the football, and at the very end of the game, had Brendan Smith come in for a few snaps.
And there we'll go into halftime. Again, Coach DePays wants to talk to his offense a little bit, and probably going to tell them the same thing, tell the whole team the same thing. Hey, let's come out and let's play the way we know we can. Let's win the second half.
And so we are at halftime here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. Going to be a triple header today with men's soccer at 5:30, women's soccer at 8 o'clock. And here in the first game of this triple header, the Southern Virginia football game, it is the Knights trailing Wesley at halftime, 42-9. We'll take a break here and be back for a second half action, so stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to the fields at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined here by Mike Carmen. We're at halftime. Wesley on top of Southern Virginia here in football action, 42-9. The Wesley Wolverines, Mike on top. And that was a score that really got out of hand towards the end of the second period because the Knights got their first touchdown, missed the extra point, but got within 19 at 28-9, and then Wesley put a couple of scores on the board right before halftime.
Yeah, that quick strike attack that the Wolverines has really came into play in that second part of the second quarter, and again some of the miscues that the Knights defense had, particularly one-on-one in the defensive backfield, came back to haunt them.
Turnover is not a huge concern for either team in this game. The Knights had the one interception return of 43 yards. Neither team has lost a fumble, I believe, right now. And, of course, Wesley's got 6 penalties for 38 yards. Time of possession, actually, Southern Virginia favored there. 16, almost 17 minutes to 13 minutes for Wesley. Total plays, obviously, very close as well. Wesley's advantage, though, Mike, as you mentioned, both in rushing yardage, 193 to 62 over Southern Virginia, and passing yardage of 113 to 59.
Well, return yards for the Knights has been a bright spot for them. 143 return yards on kickoff returns. The special teams really trying to set the offense up to do some good work.
Offensively for the Knights, Seth Hansen ran the ball 8 times for 45 yards in that first half. Michael Fry, 6 for 20. Ty Jones, 1 out of 3 passing. He made that big connection to David Beatty of 48 yards. And as Mike mentioned, the kickoff returns, Caden Knight, 4 returns, 84 yards. Lakeith Hopkins, a couple of kickoff returns for 59 yards. Hopkins had the longest 55-yard return. Knight's longest return was 36 yards.
Well, and you talked a little about the long play there. The Knights finally started to do something to slow the rush down of the Wolverines, some gadget plays or trick plays, if you will. But again, those screen passes or fake pitches and then coming back the other way and finding little open receivers 5 yards down the field after the catch, that's where the Knights can really start to make a difference.
Perhaps in a few minutes we'll check other scores, either, I guess, Division I, Mike, because there are some big Division I games, although maybe the biggest game of the nationwide would be Louisville-Clemson. That's coming up tonight. But maybe also check out some of those New Jersey Athletic Conference scores as the opening kickoff is returned by Wesley's Cap Miller, and he is to the 40, he is to the 50, breaks a tackle, down the sideline, a couple of men pin him in and finally wrestle him to the turf just shy of the 20-yard line. A couple of Knights there to make the play, including Peter Zuppa, and also making the play there was Solovey, but Mike, that almost was returned for 6 points for the Wolverines right off the bat here in the second half.
And there's a flag down on the field, so we'll have to see if that return stands up.
Looks like it's not going to. And Wesley should be used to this by now. They had 2 or 3 big plays in the first half that got wiped out by penalties.
Yeah, blocking the back on another nice run by Wesley got nullified.
So holding is the call. Penalty assessed against Nick McDaniels, a senior. And that huge return by Cap Miller is wiped out. So that helps the Knights a little bit. We mentioned some of the big games going on in the New Jersey Athletic Conference today with Montclair at William Patterson. And, of course, Rowan was hosting Christopher Newport today. I believe Frostburg was on the road to Keene. Here it's 42-9 as we start second half play. Wesley, after the penalty, starting this drive at their own 27-yard line, almost to 28. Kizak, the quarterback, hands it off to Baynard, senior tailback. He starts right, backs it over, and goes left, and gets up to almost the 35-yard line, picked up about 6.
And again with Baynard, you're not going to get a lot of fancy stuff. He's going to run downfield.
College of New Jersey is playing at Salisbury today, and you would think Salisbury should not have a problem in that game. They came in with a record of 2-0 in the conference. Second down, 5 to go. Quick pass over on the right side. Pass pulled in by the tight end. That's Torrey Robinson, but he had to go to the ground to make the catch and goes down right there. Maybe the game of the day, though, Rowan hosting Christopher Newport. And Newport trying to get a big road victory today. 32-yard line. Falkenberg, quarterback, throws. It's batted away by the Knights defense. Great job by the defense with Falkenberg, the backup quarterback, in there, and the Knights quickly force a Wesley punt.
Well, you had the linebacker Marcos Garcia get in there, get his hands up in the passing lane, able to knock that down hopefully the Knights able to put more pressure like that on the Wolverines.
Knights were seeing a backup quarterback, the junior Nick Falkenberg, who's played in several games this season. Came in with no touchdown passes, though, and 3 interceptions. Wesley getting ready to punt it away. Knights do the job defensively to start this second half. So Frostburg is on top of Keene, 17-12. That would be a big road win for Frostburg. Here comes the punt. Skips downfield. Good roll for Wesley. Rolls all the way down to the Knights' 13-yard line.
Well, that's a great defensive stand for the Knights, being able to go 3 and out and give the offense an opportunity again to start to win this second half.
And we'll see, Mike, if they can get the kind of offense they had on that one drive where they scored a touchdown, kind of mixing it up a little bit.
We have Salisbury leading the College of New Jersey 24-6 in the third quarter.
Mentioned Rowan is hosting Christopher Newport today. Christopher Newport came into the afternoon with a record of 3-0 in the conference, 4-0 overall in the season. And Montclair was at William Patterson today. Montclair's having a pretty good season as well. They beat Rowan last week. Knights will start off with the ground game. It's going to be Ty Jones, a lot of running room. 15, 20, 25-yard line for the quarterback, Ty Jones.
And that's the first time that the Knights have really been able to kick out on that block, find Ty Jones some room to run.
So good run by Ty Jones. Gets the Knights a first down. Knights just trying to move the football downfield, hang on to it, shorten down the second half a little bit, make some scores. They had a touchdown and a field goal in the first half. Here's the pitch to John Harris, trying to get outside. He will not get there. Hit by one of the defensive backs. Coming up to make the play was the quarterback, Andre Connolly, a senior.
And the Wolverines did a great job of stringing that out. Looked like John was going to be able to turn the corner, but got stuck. Some of the huge Division I games going on. Miami is leading Georgia Tech 35-21.
Looks like Notre Dame will not be upset this week. They are ahead of Syracuse, Mike. 47-27, I believe. I got to figure that Ohio State and Rutgers game is going to get ugly today.
We have number 13 Baylor trailing Iowa State 42-28.
Wow. Here's Ty Jones running the option. He pitches
Great
the ball.
pitch.
Yep, and they're going to get 3 or 4 yards out of that. Going to be a nice run there by the Knights. Making his first run of the game was Naali. And a good pitch, as you mentioned, by Jones. They end up picking up about 3 to 4 yards there.
Well, and again, that's what the Knights have to do with this running attack. 3 or 4 yards each down, then they'll start to wear this defense down and find more and more gaps.
Third down, almost 10 to go. Ball at the 26 right now for the Knights. Phillips in motion. The pitch. Phillips uses a blocker. Ollie gets up to the 29-yard line, almost the 30-yard line. He getting up to the 30, just shy of the 30-yard line, forcing a punting situation here apparently for the Knights with 4th down coming up.
Well, you said that Rutgers-Ohio State game, 11:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Ohio State leads Rutgers 58-0.
That's pretty ugly, all right.
That's pretty ugly.
Ball just shy of the 30. Knights will punt it away. Played nearly 4 minutes here in the third period. Neither team has been able to do anything with it on their first attempt. Here comes the punt. Fair catch called for and made at the 45. So Wesley's going to have good field position as Bryce Shade made the fair catch at the 45. Shade's made some big plays today for Wesley's offense.
He has, and he's a big play wide receiver, but a great job of coverage by the Knights special teams on that punt.
And the Knights have been using Horman as the punter, Mike, after had a couple of muffed punts earlier in the game.
Yeah, just not being able to watch the ball all the way into his hands. It's starting to play in his mind, I'm sure, so let's let him recollect himself out there on the defensive side.
Knights coming with the blitz. Falkenberg will throw on first down, makes the catch on the left side. The receiver for about 3 to 4 yards up to around the 49-yard line. as Alex Kemp made the catch. He's a sophomore.
Nice job by Richie Sparrow being able to get in there quickly on that quick slant.
4-yard pickup, ball to 49. Reminder that we've got soccer coming up after this. About an hour and a half gap in between the end of the football game to the men's soccer game at 5:30. And then women's soccer at 8 o'clock tonight. And the opponent in both cases will be Penn State Harrisburg, as Baynard, the senior running back, straight ahead for a few yards.
Yeah, all teams are starting into their conference play now. We see New Jersey Athletic Conference foe here in Wesley. The soccer teams in the conference play with Penn State Harrisburg. So now the games really start to ratchet up in pressure.
Another running play for Wesley. Baynard outside gets some blocks from his wide receivers, and he stepped out around the 20-yard line or so. It's going to be the 21, it looks like. Still a good gain, and Wesley's got a first down at the Knights' 21-yard line.
There you see Baynard one cut and then run downhill. Unfortunately, the Knights let him get to that edge and couldn't stop him until he gets the huge gain.
Can be tough, I guess, for fans to kind of get used to that. Both these teams are in football in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, all other sports in the Capital Conference.
Well, the Capital Conference, they're really trying to find one more team to in their conference to sponsor football. If they can get Mary Washington or Marymount to sponsor football, then we'll have a Capital Athletic Conference championship for football.
Still would have to deal with Wesley, but maybe
and
not
CNU.
At CNU, but not Rowan and Montclair.
But it'd be great to have everybody in the Capital Athletic Conference stay within that Capital Athletic Conference for all sports.
The legal procedure is the call.
They didn't get set for the full second that they need to, so move them back. And we saw Wesley make a lot of mistakes in the first half like this and move backwards.
So the ball's at the 25-yard line. First and 15 for the Wolverines. A little confusion back there. One of the receivers didn't know what was going on. Falkenberg, the quarterback, is hit and creamed back at the 35-yard line as Cooper Clark came in to make the hit.
Huge hit by Cooper Clark. Nobody blocked him. Came in untouched and really leveled the quarterback.
Big play by the Knights defense.
Well, again, we talked earlier about how the Knights need to come out and just win this second half. Don't worry about what the scoreboard says. Win the second half. Start to gain some confidence to get further into the New Jersey Athletic Conference season.
Second and long coming up here for Wesley. 35-yard line of the Knights. Falkenberg back to throw. Has time. Throws left side. Receiver open. It is Shade. He makes the catch around the far side down to the inside the 10, down close to the 9-yard line.
Joshua Christopher was on the coverage there. Looks like he got turned around a little bit. And just when you think that that Wesley's going to keep on trying to run it, they find someone open downfield.
First and goal, 9-yard line. And whistles blow before that play starts.
And it's coming from an area where it looks like it's going to be on the Wolverines again.
Wolverines have had their share of penalties, and this is going to be a legal procedure against the Wolverines.
Again, this is the second time they've tried to run up to the line and catch the Knights unaware. You got to sit for a full second before the snap happens, and they haven't been able to do that.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 14. First and goal from the 14-yard line. Falkenberg, again, the backup quarterback, into the game for Wesley. Movement again by Wesley along the line. Let's see if this is another illegal procedure.
Looks like it is. And we saw this in the first half where Wesley moved backwards more than they moved forwards for a full possession.
So the ball is back now to the 19-yard line. First and goal from the 19. And Wesley will take a timeout to talk it over as they've had a lot of confusion. A couple of back-to-back illegal procedure calls. Moves the ball back 10 yards from the 9 back to the 19-yard line, Mark. And, Mike, as far as the Knights are concerned, they're trying to get a big defensive stand here.
Yeah, and it'd be a major confidence boost if they can keep Wesley out of the end zone. If you give up 3 points, so be it. But if they Wesley keeps moving back, make that huge defensive stand, get the ball back to the offense, and let them try to find some rhythm like we saw at the close of the second quarter.
Knights will be playing on the road, of course, next Saturday at Montclair, then back for a couple of back-to-back home games against Rowan and William Patterson. William Patterson on the 22nd will be homecoming. See if we get you that Rowan score against CNU today. We mentioned also soccer coming up at 5:30. Men's soccer against Harrisburg, then followed by women's soccer at 8 o'clock, again against Penn State Harrisburg.
And that'll be a huge game, the Rowan Christopher Newport game, to see who's going to really take the lead in the New Jersey Athletic Conference football standings.
Falkenberg on second and goal from the 19-yard line, or make it first and goal. A couple of 5-yard penalties backing up the Wolverines. They've got 3 receivers over to the right side. Falkenberg looks that way. Forced out of the pocket by the Knights. Pressured and hit and down back at the 25-yard line. And I believe, again, that was Garcia coming in to make the play. Marcos Garcia, the sophomore linebacker, chasing down the quarterback for about a 5-6 yard loss.
Well, on the opposite side, you had Skylar Cloward, who really collapsed the pocket there and forced Falkenberg out of the pocket. Great job by the defensive backs covering everyone downfield.
Moves the ball back to the 25-yard line now.
And again, if you're the Knights defense, you really like to see this trend. We're going backwards instead of letting the Wolverines go forwards.
Shotgun formation, second and goal from the 25-yard line. Whistles blow again.
Looks like number 77 on the offensive line moved.
It would be another illegal procedure call. Yep, that's the call. 5 more yards, a penalty against Wesley. Moves the ball back to the 30 now.
Yeah, that was
a goal from the 30.
Christoph Reeves, a senior offensive lineman, moved a little bit. 6'6". 305-pound offensive lineman.
Falkenberg will throw a quick screen to Baynard. Left side, gets a block, and then pushed out of bounds. We're also going to have probably a holding penalty called as Orem made the defensive play, but it looked like another Southern Virginia defender was being held out there, Mike.
Yeah, I think that was Cooper Clark that was being held a little bit on the outside, but still a great job by Clark, still being able to string it out and not let the receiver get around the corner. Great job setting the edge.
See what the call is and see what the Knights want to do here. Holding against the Wolverines. They'll take the penalty yardage, forcing Wesley further back.
Well, this has moved Wesley out of field goal range, too.
No doubt about it.
Which now the Knights really have to be excited about their prospects. The only thing we have to be worried about is that quick strike capability and that long play that we've seen the Wolverines be able to pull off time after time after time. New quarterback in, though, right now.
Yeah, watch out those receivers to the right, especially number 1. That's Shade. 5 is Kemp. Falkenberg, the backup quarterback, is out there.
Yeah, you got Shade in the slot, and this is where he was dangerous in the first half.
And Falkenberg was going to throw up the left side, overthrows the intended receiver. Double coverage out there. Knights had a couple of defenders out there in Orem and also Richie Sparrow.
Yeah, nice job by the Knights. Great defensive play design, being able to cover where the intended receivers were going to be.
So it's 3rd and goal for the Wolverines. They're ahead here 42-9, but they have had their share of penalties throughout the contest, Mike.
They have, and if you're the Wolverines coaching staff, this really has to concern you going further into the season.
From the 39-yard line, Falkenberg.
And another flag.
See if this is another illegal procedure or some sort of motion call against Wesley.
And the way you see Baynard there shaking his head, it is. And that's on Shade.
Yep, Shade. Maybe they're trying to get a little early start on the pass pattern. Picks up a 5-yard penalty. So now the ball's back to the 44-yard line.
And now you start to see the Knights playing a little bit deeper off the receivers. Just make sure you keep it in front.
Pressure on, screen pass to Baynard. Knights seem to have contained that, and they do. knocking him out of bounds around the 37-yard line.
Yeah, Joel Bergman was there to make the initial stop.
Garcia there as well.
The Knights sniffed that out really well.
So after 1st and goal at the 9, Mike, it looks like Wesley will now have to end up punting.
Yeah, we saw Baynard with a huge run, and then after that one huge run, consistently going backwards.
So how often do you wind up with a 1st and goal at the 9 and wind up punting, Mike? That doesn't probably happen to Wesley too much.
Well, I'm sure in the past it hasn't happened. They're looking at it right now, though. Let's see if the Knights special teams can put the offense in great position.
Here comes the pressure and the kick away by Wesley. Fair catch called for, and it rolls into the end zone. Patted back by Wesley, picked up by one of the Knights, who brings it back to around the 7-yard line.
I think we saw the referee,
they're
the line judge.
Touchback, I believe, or is it going to be down to the 1? John Harris was the one who picked it up. So the Knights are going to have the football, trailing here by 33.
Well, the referee and the line judge are having a conversation. We'll see where they mark the ball, but once you see the back judge make that signal of the ball going into the end zone, I don't know how he can reverse that.
And it's a big situation for the Knights. We're talking about several yards here that could really influence this particular drive coming up.
There we go. So the ball did go into the end zone.
Means the ball will be at the 20 for the Knights rather than back inside their 10. So Southern Virginia's offense onto the field. Haven't seen the ball too much here in the 3rd quarter. Just the 2nd time the Knights offense has been on the field. Hanson, the starting tailback on this drive. Jones all the way at quarterback. He's under center, got a man in motion. Jones wants to throw, pressured, wings it out there, and it's nearly intercepted and dropped. Looked like one of the linebackers, maybe Mike Sabino, had a shot at it but couldn't hold on, and now it's 2nd down and 10 for the Knights.
Yeah, it hit him in a bad place. It hit him right in the hands. Most people, when they make an interception, it's one of those long diving catches. That one was right there at his eyes. I'm sure he was probably thinking about a touchdown or returning it for a great return, and just dropped it, fortunately, for the Knights.
Well, they usually say if you're on defense, it's because you couldn't cut it as a wide receiver, right? 2nd and 10. Jones, option, left side.
Nice pitch.
Good game. And it's going to be, the ball pops loose after the Knights have picked up about 10 yards, and they signal Wesley has recovered that fumble. So the Knights had a good gain out of it, Mike, but ball popped loose at the very end of that run, and Wesley opportunistic on top of the football, and now the Wolverines have it again just outside the 30-yard line of the Knights.
Yeah, Anthony Brinkley was able to come up with that fumble recovery, but it looked like the Knights really had the edge set there on Wesley. We saw the downfield blocking, which looked really good. Just got to have that ball security to maintain that drive.
And not much a break for the defense. They are right back out there now.
And even though it's cool outside, they're starting to feel the effects of being on the field for so long.
Falkenberg, quick pass, makes it over to Kemp, makes the catch. Got it to the 26, about a 5-yard pickup. Sparrow, the senior defensive back, right on top of him right there to shut him down for only a 5-yard pickup.
And it looks like Wesley's going back to what they know best, passing the ball. We've seen them try to do some running with it with Baynard, and he's done a great job. But when in doubt, you go back to what your DNA is, and the DNA for Wesley is passing.
Also, no huddle as they will give it off to Baynard. Baynard breaks one tackle and gets it inside the 19 down close to the 18-yard line.
Just a powerful runner.
He is a senior. Mentioned earlier in the game that Baynard is listed as 6 foot 210, and he has racked up some yardage. Even his backup, though, in the game earlier in the first half, E.J. Lee, the freshman, ran the ball pretty effectively, too.
Yeah, we have a injured player down on the field as we see one of our trainers, Paul Tobias, come out, check on him. Hopefully everything's okay.
Really the first injury today, Mike, that I can recall.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of them kind of hobble off, holding their arm or.
And this is going to be Neil Davis, who hobbled off earlier holding his arm, his right arm, but leaving the field here under his own power.
Well, that's always good to see.
Yep.
Sometimes you get in those piles, a cleat can come back and catch you up underneath the chin or into the solar plexus, and it just takes you out for a few plays. Well, Jim, I think we're going to see a steady diet of Shade and Baynard for the rest of this half with Wesley. I'm sure the coaches don't like what they saw in the last possession of them steadily going backwards.
Falkenberg will give it off to Baynard. No play action. Little throw, and he winged it underneath to his intended receiver. That was the tight end, Andrew Eagle. The ball was slightly behind him, but certainly catchable, and he couldn't haul it in.
Well, and there's just the classic instance of trying to turn your head and look downfield before you actually look the ball into your hands. It's the same instance with baseball and softball. If you don't watch the ball all the way into your glove, it's going to kick out. We saw that happen there with Eagle.
And the ball at the 19 right now for Wesley.
And this is where they had troubles starting in the last drive, where we saw them continually go backwards.
Got Shade over to the left, Kemp to the right. Back to pass goes Falkenberg. Lots of time to look for a receiver. Has his receiver at the 10-yard line. Couple of broken tackles, 3 or 4 broken tackles, and finally Shade goes down at the 8-yard line, as it was Richie Sparrow finally knocking him to the turf with an ankle tackle after he ran by 2 or 3 Knights defenders.
Yeah, the Knights are going to have to start wrapping up when they make contact. Although, we've talked about it, they came right back out onto the field after that turnover, so I'm sure they're very tired.
First and goal for Wesley, 9-yard line of the Knights. 42-9, that was the score at halftime. Falkenberg's got 3 receivers to the left this time. Hands it off to Baynard. Baynard stutter steps to the 5, and he goes into the end zone. Hit near the end zone by Benjamin, but he was able to get through. Baynard scores another touchdown. It's now 48-9 Wesley.
And he made that look a little bit too easy. Again, the Knights defense goes off the field after doing a great job in the previous possession by Wesley, and then have to come right back on after a turnover by the offense.
And now the senior kicker, Eric Spidell, trying for his 7th extra point today. He is 6 for 6 so far today. And this kick is up, and it is through to make it 49-9. So Wesley now with a 40-point lead, biggest lead of the game so far for the Wolverines. They'll kick off, and we'll see what the Knights offense can do with the football.
Well, this is what makes the Wolverines so hard to defend. You have Baynard with 4 touchdowns as he's driving it up the middle. If you key on him, then you have Shade on the outside as a wide receiver, and he gets wide open for plays down the field 20, 30 yards. So they're very hard to defend. The Knights really having a trouble right now trying to concentrate on one or the other.
Remember, we've got soccer coming up at 5:30. It'll be men's soccer taking on Penn State Harrisburg at 5:30, and that'll be followed at 8 o'clock by women's soccer against Penn State Harrisburg. And we saw one of the women's soccer players here at halftime of the football game, Tatiana Munson.
Yeah, and she's planning on doing some great things with her team, hoping that they come out with a win tonight. They just want to play really well. She said it's perfect weather for soccer, so we're looking for big things. In other New Jersey Athletic Conference football, in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, Keene now leads Frostburg State 18-17.
Keene came into the day with a record of 2-1 in the conference, 3-1 overall. So they've got a conference loss, but they've also got a pretty good football team.
And Salisbury is up on the College of New Jersey with 9:54 left in the fourth quarter, 34-6.
Short kickoff being returned by the Knights at the 20-yard line, and Hanson is pushed out of bounds. That's going to be a penalty flag.
Yeah, we'll see the flag there.
That's like the 3rd or 4th time we've seen somebody from the Knights pushed out of bounds, a good yard or 2 out of bounds, and that's the first time they've actually thrown a flag for it.
Oh, and it's a great job of Anthony Johnson of the Knights getting over there and bringing his teammate Seth Hansen back across the field, saying, listen, they already threw the flag. We don't need to have anything else go on.
Mentioned, Mike, too, that Rowan is hosting Christopher Newport today, and that's going to be a big game in the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
That will be, and we'll keep an eye on that one during the soccer games to make sure that we keep up to date on that, because that has a huge playing in the conference that the Knights are in for football.
So the Knights bring the offense back onto the field. Ty Jones all the way quarterback. Runs the option, pitches the ball to Reed. Reed stumbles a little bit, circles around the right side, gets across the 50. He's into Wesley territory near the 49-yard line.
And again, you see the Wolverines really trying to string out the runners from the Knights. Sometimes you're going to have to just plant your foot, get upfield, and get some of that yardage that they're going to give you. It's only going to be 2 or 3 yards, but again, if you can be physical enough, you can start to wear out some of the defenses that we'll see throughout the year.
Shea Reed, freshman running back from Kearns, Utah. Picked up about 3 on that carry. Second down coming up here for the Knights. Into Wolverines territory. Pitch goes over to Harris. Harris does a great job scooping the ball up and getting a couple of yards up to around the 47-yard line.
Yeah, fantastic job by Harris. Good hands of picking it up. You never want to see the ball pitched out to nobody, and Harris with awareness to pick it up.
Harris got about a yard on the pickup, so it's going to bring up a third down coming up here for the Knights.
And again, you have to go back to that first half where the Knights brought out a few little gadget plays. It should be time to see something like that again as the Wolverines are really starting to key on all the runs.
Fake to the running back. Jones going to throw over the middle, overthrows Beatty around the 20-yard line. And that brings up fourth down now for the Knights. Hoping to find Beatty open across the middle, but he was covered. Mike had good coverage on him.
Well, you had 3 defensive backs running with him. It'd been nice to see someone with a little square in or a slant right underneath David. Could have been wide open there in the middle.
Knights will go ahead and punt here, trailing 49-9. It was 42-9 at halftime.
Horman in to punt, and he's done a great job of punting, not out kicking his coverage.
And this kick is straight up and down, fielded by Shea to the 20-yard line. Shea, good return, 40-yard line. And he gets about 31 on that return. Gets it across the 50 to the 49-yard line. Actually stiff-armed the punter, Horman, who knocked him out at the 49-yard line of Southern Virginia.
Yeah, we saw number 52, Travis Smith, also in on the tackle there. Again, Shade, a dynamic player. We've seen him on the outside as a wide receiver. We've seen him returning punts. Just a player that has to be accounted for at all times.
So Wesley will start this drive near the 50 in Southern Virginia territory, 49-yard line. Wesley on top here in the second half, 7-0. It was 42-9 at halftime. Last week, the Salisbury team came in, led 21-0 at halftime, ended up winning that 35-0.
We talk about Shade. He leads the team in all-purpose yards, averaging about 95.7 yards per game.
Handoff goes to Baynard, still in the game. And Baynard gets down inside the 40, and he's down to the 37-yard line. So Jamar Baynard, senior running back, he's still out there, Mike, here in the third quarter. Wesley on top big time. They don't want to have maybe some of their key starters injured in a game like this either.
Well, there you see Baynard going out towards the sidelines there. But again, you have to put yourself in the role of a coach. You have someone who's just starting to get rolling. Let's not let anything slow him down a little bit.
Quick
get that
pass.
practice.
And receiver makes the catch, and right on top of him is Burcham, the defensive back, making the tackle. With Baynard coming out of the game, they bring in their backup tailback in E.J. Lee, the freshman.
And we saw Lee in the first half, and a little scat back, able to, like a water bug, just moving all over the place, causing some misses.
See if he gets it here. Nope, play action. Falkenberg's going to throw over the defender, hits his receiver, that's Cap Miller, makes the catch at the 20, down right there. Good tackle by the Knights to limit the gain, but it's going to be a first down for Wesley. First down, Wolverines.
Again, the Knights defense really needs to buckle down here, not allow any points if possible. If you have to give up points, 3 points would be the optimum.
Here's the freshman running back, E.J. Lee. He goes outside and then is forced back inside by a couple of Knights. Caden Knight right there along with Cooper Clark, and it was Caden Knight who forced him back in.
And a great job of the Knights not letting Lee get to the outside where he's most dangerous. A different type of runner than Banyard. Banyard will put his head down and go through the middle. Looks like Lee wants to get to the outside a little bit more and get upfield.
Second down coming up here for the Wolverines. Clock ticking down here in the third quarter. High snap, and the quarterback pulls it down, hands it off to Cap Miller. Miller is inside the 10, knocked off his feet, sprawls ahead to the 7-yard line. Andrew Bear, defensive back, junior, making the play for the Knights defense.
And multiple flags on the field. Saw one come in late. So we'll have at least 2 fouls called. We'll have to see what that does to that run by Miller.
Mike, what do you expect in these soccer matches coming up at 5:30 the men and 8 o'clock tonight the women against Penn State Harrisburg is the opponent in both of those?
Well, both teams come in looking to get that first Capital Athletic Conference win. Again, Penn State Harrisburg has to travel here, so you're hoping that the home field advantage stays with you.
Both penalties going against the Wesley Wolverines. One was a regular penalty, and then the dead ball foul, unnecessary roughness against big number 78 there for the offensive line for Wesley. Darren Hellwig, 6'4", 290-pound offensive line, a senior. And those penalties against Wesley, I know they're on top here by 40, Mike, but they have also been piling up the penalty yardage today.
And they're piling up penalty yardage with players that aren't the third or fourth string players. These are their main players, and that's got to be a concern for the Wesley coaching staff.
Due to the penalty, the ball is pushed back to the 42 of Southern Virginia. Falkenberg, the quarterback, throwing across the middle, has shade, makes the catch at the 28-yard line, wrestled to the turf right there by Seth Hansen. And also Mitch Orm, and a lot of yards on that play, but due to all the penalty yardage, it's still going to bring up a tough situation here for Wesley on third down.
Well, and again, the Knights are really trying to limit any type of yard gain that the Wesley wide receivers can get after the catch, and Orm did a great job with that. Again, the whole goal, keep them out of the end zone. If you have to give up any points, 3 would be preferable, but we'd like to see this Knights make a huge stand here and cause either a field goal attempt or a turnover on downs.
From the 28-yard line, third down, almost 18 to go. Falkenberg has time. Good pocket. Throws over the middle, nearly intercepted by the Knights. Boy, that was almost picked off by Joel Bergman. Of course, he had an interception back in the opening quarter of the ball game, which he took back quite a ways, and he almost had his second pick of the day.
Oh, that'd be great if Bergman could have got his hands on that and pulled it in. But again, Knights much better job. Not a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but a great job defending in the secondary.
So now it's fourth down, and from the 28-yard line, apparently too far for Wesley to try a field goal. So it looks like they're going to go for it here on fourth down.
Well, let's see if the Knights bring pressure or if they stay back trying to make sure that they don't give up a big play.
And we'll see if the Knights come with a blitz or settle back into coverage. And now a timeout's going to be taken by the Wolverines.
Yeah, the play clock was down to 1. So great awareness by Falkenberg to call that timeout. A lot of confusion on the Wolverines side. Again, the Knights defense really wants to take care of this fourth down, not give up any yards. If they can, keep them at the yard marker that they're at and turn it over to their offense.
Falkenberg is a junior. He's the backup quarterback, 6'2", 210, Mike. Problem for him is Kizak is the starter, and he's only a junior.
Yeah, and both of them played behind a professional football player now from Wesley.
Right.
That is playing for the Green Bay Packers right now, and really didn't have a lot of maturation in that process up until this year.
You know, this Wesley team came in 1-2 on the season, but they've got a lot of talent, and their losses, obviously, their loss in the New Jersey Athletic Conference came to Christopher Newport. That was a game they were tied 21-21 in the fourth quarter, had a lot of turnovers, and ended up losing 42-24. As we talked about in the pregame show, this is a Wesley team that if they can put together a run, maybe not lose again rest of the season, they got a great chance to get back to the D3 tournament.
And I'm sure that's what they're aiming for.
Falkenberg wants to throw. He's got time. Now the pocket breaks down. He quickly wings it out to the left side to the 20-yard line. Pass is pulled in. That's the tailback, and it's going to be a touchdown as the tailback in the pass pattern, the freshman E.J. Lee makes the grab, avoids a couple of defenders, and goes in for the score.
You know, and Lee reminds me a little bit of a Darren Sproles. Get out there in space and make people miss you, and that's what he did that time. The Knights had it played well, just couldn't tackle him as he ran through some arm tackles. Again, the Knights need to get into the chest and wrap him up.
Yeah, he's 185 pounds, only 5'8", but 185 pounds. Has the speed, but also, as you mentioned, can bust through those arm tackles. Here comes another extra point try for the Wesley Wolverines. That was their 8th touchdown, moving along the line. One of the Knights came across early. Looks like maybe Sparrow on the right side came across. Extra point is good.
So 8 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Again, the Knights special teams needs to try to set them up for a great chance going into the fourth quarter.
Knights have been outscored here in the second half so far, 14-0. It was 42-9 at halftime. They were outscored last week by Salisbury in the second half, 14-0. And right now they're just trying to get their offense going, trying to really maybe repeat that drive they had back in the first half, Mike, which featured the long pass play to Beatty, and then also Ty Jones hitting Hanson coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, you had a couple trick plays that went on there. The pitch and the halfback option pass really caught Wesley unaware. Again, something like that has to be done on a periodic basis against a team like Wesley, or else they will just send everybody into the holes and plug up all the running room.
So the Wolverines getting ready to kick off here. We're just 8 seconds left in the quarter. It's 56-9. Wolverines on top. Mentioned the Knights will be playing on the road next Saturday, playing at Montclair before they return home on October the 15th.
We'll see if the Knights can get off another great return. They've been doing it all day long.
Mainly Lakeith Hopkins and Caden Knight. That's Caden Knight chasing the ball down. It rolls out. Don't think he touched it, or did he? I don't think he touched it, Mike. If he did, they got it at the 1 yard line. If he didn't touch it, they should have it up around the 35 or so.
Well, let's see what the referee says.
It looked like he was able to stay away from it.
No penalty flag. I think they're going to pick it up.
Yep. And not good news for the Knights. They'd be backed up. So Caden Knight must have touched it, Mike.
Ooh, on the 2 yard line. Not a place that the Knights offense wants to begin.
He was looking like he wanted to pick it up. I just wasn't sure if he actually got his hand on it, but apparently he did. So the Knights are going to be starting deep in their own end.
Well, I would look for the Knights to feature a fullback dive or try to take the quarterback right up the middle. Try to give him some room.
New quarterback out there, Brendan Smith, freshman. See if he just plays it safe and runs it straight ahead, which they do, but Wesley all over that.
Well, Wesley may have been thinking the same thing, and they're going to try to run the fullback right up the middle.
That is the last play of the third quarter, as Callens, the freshman running back, had the carry there. So we'll go to the other end for the fourth quarter, Mike, with Wesley on top here, 56-9.
Well, some more scores from the New Jersey Athletic Conference. Frostburg now leads Keene with 13:47 to go in the fourth quarter, 25-18.
That would be a big win for Frostburg. They came into the day 1-1 in the conference and 2-1 on the season.
And with 32 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, Salisbury has a 41-6 lead against the College of New Jersey.
And the Seagulls will improve to 3-0 and 4-0 overall in the season, but 3-0 in the conference. Christopher Newport also came into today with a record of 3-0 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, and as we mentioned, they're playing at Rowan today.
Yeah, and it's going to be who can win at the other powerhouse home field. You know, you always have a great chance of winning your home games, but it's the schools that can go on the road and win. Those are the ones that seem to always rise to the top of the standings.
And it's not just, Salisbury, Wesley, and Christopher Newport. You got to look out for those mid-tier teams like Montclair, Frostburg, and Keene.
Yeah, anybody in this conference, it's almost a coin flip right now of who can really take over the standings. We're going to have to wait for another 3 or 4 weeks to see how things start to shake out when these these teams start playing each other.
Although that game today between Rowan and CNU is a huge one, especially if Rowan wants to make some play in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. The pitch into the backfield, good run by the Knights. They get it across the 5 up to around the 7-yard line. Shea Reed on the carry. They pitched the ball back into the end zone, Mike, but Reed was able to get out of the end zone, go around the left side, and get some decent yardage out of it.
Yeah, that's always a little bit dangerous pitch there, but the Knights made it work for them. They still have to make sure that they get a little bit more room, get the first down or get a little bit more room in case they need to punt.
And Brendan Smith is the freshman quarterback. He's out there right now. Ty Jones had gone all the way at quarterback. 3rd, 5 to go. Man in motion.
Looks like
straight up the middle.
Yeah, I think he bobbled the snap there, went on the ground, so that's all he could do was pick it up and try to go up the middle.
That's going to force the Knights to punt again from their end zone, Mike, and I would imagine Horman will come out there and do the punting. They tried Moala earlier in the game. He bobbled a couple of snaps, had some great runs after bobbling the snap. I remember the one where he had to get to the 49 of Wesley to get a first down. He ran the ball, broke 3 or 4 tackles, got it all the way to the 48 of Southern Virginia. Came up 3 yards shy of picking up the first down. And since those bobbled snaps, they've had Horman out there punting.
Well, and that can get into a freshman's head, too, always bobbling the ball. You don't want to do anything to destroy his confidence for the rest of the season. Great job by the coaching staff to bring Horman in to kick the ball.
He's about 2 to 3 yards away from the back line, and here comes the punt. High kick called for a fair catch by Shade, who makes it, and Wesley is going to have good field position once again with this 47-point lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Harmon's so far back in the end zone, all he can do is just try to get rid of it quickly. Only made about a 35-yard kick, and not good for the Knights defense to have to get right back out on the field after a 3-and-out.
Knights had a good beginning in this game, Mike. They had the chance to get on the scoreboard first, missed a field goal, got a field goal later in that first half, and actually cut the lead down to 28-9. They had a chance right before halftime to try to narrow it a little further, but then Wesley got some key scores, Mike, in the second period, and they pulled away since then. A little screen pass left side.
I think it's going to call it incomplete as it hit the ground.
Hit the ground at the 30-yard line. The intended receiver, another tight end, and Deshaun Smith.
Well, on the national scene, Jim, we talked a little bit earlier about Iowa State maybe upsetting Baylor. Baylor's come back. It's 42-42 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Amazing comeback by the Baylor Bears today. Ball at the 29-yard line, 2nd and 10. Falkenberg from the shotgun hands it off to the freshman Lee, and he works his way to the 20-yard line, down close to maybe the 19 or the 18-yard line. As E.J. Lee, the freshman, picks up yardage there, knocked to the turf by Mitch Orem.
Well, and I would expect to see Lee really featured now more and more in the fourth quarter. Try to ball control it, just try to run some clock, not let the Knights get the ball back and try to get any type of offensive momentum.
Ball near the 17-yard line of the Knights. Falkenberg has a man in motion, hands it off to the motion man around the right side. That's Jamie Rice, a wide receiver. And he picks up decent yardage.
And this is what an offensive line really likes to get to. They get to a point at the end of the game where they know that they're going to be playing this smash mouth defense. They want to get out, make their contact, and move their defensive linemen back, allow the offense to maintain control and steadily move down the field.
From the 8-yard line, here's Lee again, the freshman. Gets it down close to the 6, got a first down. And then held up near the 5-yard line. Ball at the 6. 1st and goal for Wesley.
Well, now the character of the defense is really going to be tested. You know, they're down. Are they going to give up? Are they going to continue to play throughout this attack by the Wesley Wolverines?
They had some big defensive stands early in the game, back in the first quarter, trying to make one here. Here's Lee, stutter step, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Wolverines have their 9th touchdown of the game. Well, Wesley, with this win today, Mike, they're going to improve to 2-2 on the season. They've got a long way to go to deal with those early season losses to Delaware Valley and to Christopher Newport.
But they're trying to establish themselves that they're still a national power. They've lost to 2 teams that were or are ranked in the top 25. Yep. They're trying to get a at-birth or a conference championship to get them back to that national scene.
Yeah, I'm sure they're thinking of the conference championship, maybe running the table, and that might be enough as the extra point sails through. 63-9 Wesley now, and the Wolverines will go ahead and kick off.
Well, I know that Wesley's going to be really interested in the game tonight, Rowan against Christopher Newport. I know nobody likes to pull for anybody in their conference, but I'm sure Wesley's going to be pulling for Rowan.
Yeah, if Rowan wins that ball game tonight, it really opens up the conference race.
It does. Then you have 2 or 3 or 4 teams that could actually come back and win the conference. It'll be great to as a conference to have that type of competition.
Yeah, Salisbury is 2-0. Now, Salisbury, of course, beat Southern Virginia last week 35-0, and they were able to beat Montclair before that, but that was a home game, so Salisbury really hasn't been challenged on the road just yet. They've got some big tests still to come.
Yeah, they have to play Wesley, CNU, Rowan.
No, they've already it's a situation, Mike, I guess, where basically right now you've got to win your home games. You can't stumble at home, and you're going to have to pick off one of those other top teams on the road.
Yeah, winning.
And you do that, and you should be able to, get the conference championship.
If you're looking at it, you have to go in and either beat a Frostburg, a CNU, a Rowan, a Montclair, or Wesley at their home field.
Here comes the kickoff downfield to John Harris. He makes the grab at the 5-yard line, got it back to the 15, and gang tackled at the 17-yard line. It looks like since Caden Knight's return from a quarter or two ago that Wesley has really covered the kickoffs a little better.
Yeah, they've put a little bit. I think they've instructed a kicker to put a little bit more height on it. Don't worry so much about distance. Get more height on it so he's not out kicking. Yeah, not out kicking the coverage, and it seems to be working for the Wolverines right now.
Of course, when it comes to the New Jersey Athletic Conference race, I'm sure the Knights down the road, having faced already Salisbury and Wesley, but still some other heavyweights to come, including Christopher Newport at the very end of the season. And Montclair on the road next week. I'm sure they would love to pull an upset. Not only, maybe knock somebody out of the race, but get that signature victory inside the New Jersey Athletic Conference. A couple of years ago they beat the College of New Jersey for their first conference victory, and now they're looking to get one of those signature wins against either, perhaps you could say, a top 5 or 6 team in the conference.
Well, if we look down into the future, let's say that Christopher Newport goes on and goes undefeated until the Knights come up to play them in that last game. That would be a huge signature win if the Knights could knock off CNU at CNU and cause some turmoil at the top of the New Jersey Athletic Conference standings.
Knights right now just trying to get on the scoreboard again. They had a field goal and a touchdown in the first half. And Brennan Smith, quarterback out there, taking over for Ty Jones, handing the football off. That is Callens, the running back, the freshman from Houston, Texas, and he gets a good gain.
And again, this offense, this triple option offense, really takes some time to get accustomed to. Playing it, defending it, but as the Knights get more adept at running it throughout the rest of the season, and again, we talked about, look at all the freshmen that Coach DePay and his staff has brought in. They have to gel. They have to learn all the nuances of the system. I can foresee, 2-3 years down the road that no one will want to play the Knights with this style that they play.
And Smith running the option got turned inside by the defender, who then proceeded to hit Smith. Ben Robinson, senior linebacker, making the tackle and limiting that gain to no gain.
Coach DePay worked at Navy. Navy runs this. He also worked for BYU as a running backs coach and under Bronco Mendenhall, and they featured a lot of running.
When you saw the triple option run by Navy, that was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and it's hard to defend once you understand how to run it. That's what the Knights are up against right now. They're just learning how to run this, and no one wants to play Navy. No one wants to play Georgia Tech because of this type of offense.
2nd down and 9, handoff to the fullback, and down right before he got to the line of scrimmage. as the Wolverines bring several defenders to hit Kellens and knock him down for about a yard or two loss.
Well, Coach DePay has really brought in a great staff to help try to train these young men. We have two assistant coaches that played for Super Bowl winning teams. They're going to teach them some great techniques along the line. I'm sure that, again, 2 to 3 years from now, we're going to be looking at this and say, you know, the Knights are one of these teams that are vying for the top spot of the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
28-yard line, 3rd down, 10 to go. Ryan, a little confusion back in the backfield. Got spun around, got dumped for a loss. And that's going to force the Knights to punt. Almost looked like a busted play back there as to what was actually going to happen, Mike.
Yeah, I think a couple people listened to the play wrong, maybe. One went one way, one went the other way, and the quarterback had nowhere to go.
Scary thing, if you're Brendan Smith, the quarterback, you look around for maybe a handoff and no one there.
But he did a great job of not panicking and just pitching the ball to try to make a huge play. Kept the ball, took the punishment a little bit of the sack, but let the Knights be able to punt the ball away instead of turning it over on the 30-yard line.
You can see a good crowd on hand and a few people on the hill, Mike. Might be a little soggy over there, but the rain, of course, is letting up overnight and seems to have dried off pretty good today because we haven't had any rain this morning or this afternoon, and the temperatures are just enough to start drying things off around here.
Well, there's always a little bit of a breeze blowing up here on the hill, and Southern Virginia calls a timeout there. Always a little breeze, and that little breeze helps dry things out. The turf, though, absolutely dry. We could have a deluge of rain, and within 2 or 3 minutes of the rain being done, they could get out there and play.
Well, you got to know that Coach DePay would love to see his offense get back on the field before this game is over and get one more score on the board. They got a touchdown and a field goal in the first half, along with a missed field goal and a blown extra point. And I know that they would love to get on the scoreboard here in the second half with maybe a touchdown, which is something they could not do against Salisbury last week. Shut out 35-0, and I'd shut out in the second half against Salisbury last week 14-0 as Horman gets ready to punt the football away.
Yeah, you don't want to have that hanging around in the air that, hey, we can shut out the Knights in the second half. You always want to be able to be a team that can put some momentum runs together.
Horman's kick, fair catch called for, and it is made by Rondell Fletcher, the freshman from Wesley. So the Wolverines have the football back. They've scored 21 points. They have outscored the Knights here in the second half, 21-0. It was 42-9 at halftime.
Well, again, the Knights'
you were looking at
defense.
the schedule too, Mike, for the New Jersey Athletic Conference. When you look at Wesley's future schedule, I'm sure they might have some big tests coming up. They've only played the College of New Jersey, and that was on the road a few weeks ago. And Wesley is going to have some opportunities against Keene on the road in a few weeks. But, you know, they also
they go to Rowan.
Yep, go to Rowan in a few weeks, and then they get the home game against Montclair. And they've got Salisbury.
They go to Salisbury.
So they're going to have their chances, I guess, to really get back in the conference race.
They are, and again, I don't know if anybody can go undefeated. It's going to be one of those years that one loss is not going to knock you out of contention for the top spot in the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
When you take a look earlier in the schedule, Salisbury and Christopher Newport, that's going to be a heavyweight matchup. I know Newport is playing at Rowan today, and if they can get that victory, they've got Salisbury at home coming up on the 29th. So that's why I was saying if CNU can win at Rowan today, it's just another step forward. But they've got the schedule where if anybody could go undefeated, it may well be either, obviously, Salisbury or Newport. The only defeateds left, and, of course, whoever wins that Salisbury-Christopher Newport game in a few weeks is going to be in a huge position.
Well, you got Frostburg, who's undefeated also, and Christopher Newport has to go to Frostburg.
Has the one loss.
Oh, sorry.
I think Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley beat them
handily too.
Handily. But
Which
that
was
was
kind of surprising.
That was at Wesley. So again, Wesley did a great job of holding their own on their home field. Christian Newport has to go to Frostburg, and we know the coach at Frostburg, Delane Fitzgerald, will really have them ramped up for that game.
That's why that Wesley score against Frostburg. Frostburg's got a pretty good team. They were ahead at Keene today. That was a very surprising score that Wesley really put it on him, and that probably obviously shows you just how good this Wesley Wolverines team is, as we got a penalty flag. as E.J. Lee, the freshman, was running the ball. Last report, Frostburg still on top of Keene, 25-18. Holding on the Wolverines. That's about the only area of their game that they have had problems with today would be the penalty yardage.
But that is a huge problem when you start going into Rowan and Christopher Newport or and Salisbury and all these other teams. If you make that type of mistake against teams that have the same talent level as you and are performing the same as you, that can be the difference of the game. You know, that's where the Knights want to get.
And when you talk about maybe not winning the New Jersey Athletic Conference and trying to get in a large bid, there's going to be a lot of competition from inside your own conference for that.
There is, and they're going to look at that. And then there's also a lot of competition from the Wisconsin Athletic Conferences.
Yep. And not to mention all those schools in Ohio, as E.J. Lee runs it down to the 35 of the Knights. Talked about Wisconsin, Whitewater, Oshkosh, Platteville. Ohio's got some pretty good teams in the top 25. Needless to say, Mount Union, but also Wittenberg and John Carroll. A lot of competition to really even make the Division III tournament.
Well, and we talked,
which usually shows you why maybe usually only one team from the ODAC can get in.
Yeah, and we talked before about just the different levels of Division III. Also, you know, you can be really good. Wesley last year was really good until they got to the next level, playing against Whitewater.
What we call that, the final tier?
Yeah, the final tier.
Which usually involves two teams, although, you know, Mary Hardin, Baylor, and a few teams like that, have, including Wesley, have gotten up there. Here's E.J. Lee, the freshman, running it down to the 25 of the Knights.
Ball's loose.
Ball came loose. Knights scrambling to recover that fumble to get it back for the offense. No signal from the referees. Lee had his hands wrapped around it, along with the Knights defender.
Apparently it looks like they're going to leave it with the Wolverines.
Yep. With the ball at the 24 with just over 5 minutes to go. And the clock is running sufficiently here, Mike, that you start thinking about whether the Knights offense can get back on the field and get one more shot at it. Got to know that Coach DuPay would like to get his offense back out there and have him take one more shot down the field.
Well, you know, and the Knights are going to learn from playing against these teams that are ranked or just right outside the rankings. We know Wesley received some votes for being ranked. They're going to learn from this and grow immensely.
Got a third-string quarterback in there for Wesley now, and that is Galik Burrows. He's a sophomore. Burrows running quarterback, obviously. It looked like right there on that play, and got a good gain of it.
Here's a quick rundown of the top 25 from D3Football.com. We have Mount Union, Wisconsin Whitewater, Mary Hardin Baylor, St. Thomas, Wisconsin Oshkosh, North Central, Linfield, Wisconsin Platteville, John Hopkins, St. John's.
Let's see, St.
Wheaton.
Thomas, Minnesota?
Yes.
And I think they had a pretty good season last year.
Yeah, they had a fabulous season. So, you know, there's a lot of competition for those open bids if you don't win your conference. And when you have a conference like the New Jersey Athletic Conference who can have 2 or 3 people vying for those bids, competition becomes very, very keen.
Snap back to Burrows. Barely got to him. He was able to pick it up, but he was knocked off his feet by Matt Blake, freshman linebacker for the Knights from Provo, Utah. Yeah, Mary Hardin Baylor, that's another powerhouse in D3 football. Kind of like Wesley. It's to the point where you're in, year out. You're maybe a top 8, maybe even a top 4 team. You just seemingly can never get to the top 2 because of Mount Union and Whitewater.
We have Mount Union playing Ohio Northern, leading Ohio Northern 35-14 in the fourth quarter. Whitewater.
Actually, that's a pretty good performance by Ohio Northern.
Whitewater, number 2 against number 8 Platteville, leads 17-14. Started the third quarter when we knew that was going to be a fight.
Yeah. You can imagine the bragging rights they have up in Wisconsin for some of those games, and when you toss in maybe Oshkosh as well. Here's Burrows moving along the left side of the line. Burrows, the third quarterback out there for Wesley today. You know, Wesley's got some key seniors on the roster, Mike, like Boehner, their tailback, their top running back, and Bryce Shade, who's been the playmaker from the wide receiver standpoint. But then again, they've got A couple of junior quarterbacks we've seen here today. Cap Miller, another playmaker from a wideout position. He's only a sophomore. And then you've got the running back Lee, backup running back, who's only a freshman. So a lot of talent on this Wesley football team.
A lot of talent. And again, they lost so much from last year that we knew it was going to take them a little while to get going. Looks like they found the combination and the chemistry now.
Ball is back at the 30. Third down coming up for the Wolverines. Burrows will take it on a quarterback draw. And he is wrapped up and knocked down from behind. Great tackle by Travis Smith, freshman defensive lineman from Lehigh, Utah, Snow College.
Yeah, his
helmet came off, but he made a great defensive play to stop Burrows from going anywhere.
And you know, that kid, he wants to stay out on the field, but because of the rule where your helmet comes off, you have to go off after making such a great play. I'm sure that's kind of a letdown. He put that helmet on, young man, and get ready to get back in on the next play.
And on fourth down coming up here, I would imagine Wesley will simply go for it. Obviously, no sense to punt, probably too far, and no sense for a field goal anyway. So, see what the Wolverines going to do here. One thing's for sure, if the Knights can stop him here on fourth down, Mike, I know the offense would like to score to try to get on the scoreboard here in the second half, but they're not going to have a lot of time to work with.
No, and they're going to have to, again, I'm sure they're probably going to stick with their game plan, try to work on the running game, try to make sure that they understand it, and use this as an extra practice.
Burrows running up the middle, got it down to the 25-yard line, knocked down right there. A couple of Knight defenders, including Derek Blasco, sophomore from Ellicott City, Maryland, making the play. And so the offense takes it back over with just over 2 minutes to go.
Well, the turnover on down again doesn't give the Knights offense a lot of time, but they're going to be very efficient. You don't want to give the ball back now to Wesley with any time left on the clock.
So do you think they'll throw here or just keep it on the ground with Callens, the running back, and again, Brandon Smith, the third quarterback out there for the Knights, third string quarterback. Maybe he's moving up to second string now. Straight handoff up the middle. Got it to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, I think that the Knights are going to stick with their philosophy and game plan. Again, Coach DePace probably using this as a not only a training ground for them, but a proving ground, saying, listen, we need to learn how to run this against some of the top teams, not only in our conference, but in the nation.
Right now, just thinking about maybe picking up first downs then, Mike, and not really worried about getting on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do is see this offense start to find some momentum.
And here comes the option pitch to Reed. Good running back is Reed. He turns the corner, gets out of bounds, bumped out at the 35-yard line. I like the look of Reed. He had some good runs against Salisbury last week, and Shea Reed, the freshman, ran the ball very effectively there.
Well, and John Harris with a great block out there on the edge to free Sean up.
Remember, the Knights will be on the road next Saturday playing at Montclair. And then in a couple of weeks, they'll be back home for a home game October the 15th against Rowan. And I believe that's the first time that Rowan has come to the fields at Southern Virginia University.
Yeah, it'll be a new experience for them. And again, hopefully the Knights learn from this, start to grow from this, find some offensive continuity, let the defense rest for a while, and can pull out a win.
Smith, the quarterback, runs the option to the left this time, pitches the ball, and that's going to be a couple of yards on that pickup.
Looks like that's Anthony Johnson. Nope, sorry.
Yep,
Caden Knight.
Caden Knight, who had some big kickoff returns, running that one for a couple of yards. Remember, we've got soccer coming up at 5:30. Men's soccer against Penn State Harrisburg at 5:30. That'll be followed by women's soccer at 8 o'clock. We'll have both those soccer matches for you. Had volleyball last night, and it's a tough match loss for the women who fell to Christopher Newport in straight sets, in 3 sets, Mike, but played very well and actually had the lead in one of those sets, a chance to maybe take the momentum away from CNU yesterday, and CNU made the comeback.
Well, and it's hard to play those upper division teams. You had the number 14 team in the nation in Mary Washington come in and play on Wednesday, and then 2 days later you have to turn around and play the number 17 team in Christopher Newport. Again, it's just nonstop with the Capital Athletic Conference for all of the sports but football, and then in football we look at the New Jersey Athletic Conference, and that's where our teams land for football is just nonstop. You don't get a breath.
Knights running the ball straight up the middle that time. That was Smith, the quarterback.
Yeah, it looked like there's a little mishandling of the snap there.
Clock ticking down here, closing in on the 1 minute mark. You look at how this game developed. It was 42-9 at halftime. Wesley's outscored the Knights 21-0 here in the second half, Mike. And the Knights got a touchdown, their only touchdown in the game, to pull within 28-9. And we're hoping to take that deficit no more than 19 points at halftime, and maybe scoring before halftime to get it down close to 10 or 11 or 12. And then Wesley just got a couple of scores, put the game away at halftime, 42-9, and really coasted here in the second half.
Well, and so far today, Wesley's really been their own worst enemy. We saw all the penalties that they've had. The Knights with a couple trick plays that really caught the Wolverines unaware. I know that's not something that Coach DePay really wants to put in. He wants to have his set philosophy and run that triple option. But sometimes if you're known for not ever passing the ball, the defenses can really load up on the defensive box and stop everything. So it was great seeing those type of pass plays. The halfback option play really caught the Wolverines unaware.
Yeah, maybe the play of the game was Phillips' pass to Beatty, although some of those kick returns by Lakeith Hopkins and also Caden Knight set the crowd going too.
Yeah, special teams has done a fabulous job.
Speaking of Caden, there he is running the ball, getting it to the 30-yard line. Maybe time for one more play in this game. So Wesley's going to improve to 2-1 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference and 2-2 on the season. And with this loss, the Knights are going to drop to 0-3 in the conference and 1-3 overall, with their next ball game coming up again on the road next Saturday at Montclair State. Ryan, quarterback, runs it left side this time. And that was a tough pitch for the running back, Solivi, to make the catch off. He was able to grab it, go to the turf right there, and that's going to be the final play of this football game as Wesley wraps up a convincing 63-9 victory today, Mike, over the Southern Virginia University Knights.
Well, again, just a quick strike offense that Wesley has really shown over the past couple of years. It's really hard to prepare for them when especially if you're the Knights and you're working on one style and philosophy. It's really hard to prepare for another style and philosophy that is so different than yours. Some of the stats that we have: 537 total yards for the Wolverines, 177 for the Knights. Average yards per play, 7.6 for the Wolverines and 3.5 for the Knights.
And you can see when it comes to total plays how Wesley kind of pulled away in that category. At one point it was like 29-27. Wesley barely on top, just a couple of plays over the Knights, meaning that they were having almost equal possession. I know in the first half the Knights had the time of possession battle in their favor, but obviously here in the second half a different story.
Well, one thing that the Knights really did well were the penalties. Only 2 penalties on the Knights for 20 yards, 18 for 162 yards for the Wolverines. Great job in discipline by the Knights, not allowing any penalties. That's something that we haven't seen in some of the teams that passed here that the Knights have had on football. Coach DePay and his staff really doing a great job of discipline with not drawing any penalties.
And the penalty yardage for Wesley, that really racked up throughout the course of the contest today, and that's got to be of a concern to them.
It has to be. That's something that the coaching staff will go back and look at, because, again, you get into some teams that are right there with you on a national ranking. You make those type of mistakes, you do not win the game.
And so the Knights start to turn their attention to the road game now, which will be coming up next Saturday, Mike, on the road at Montclair before they return home. I know they've had a lot of road games to begin the season. They go to Montclair next Saturday, and then in 2 weeks they'll be back home for Rowan, followed by that homecoming game on the 22nd against William Patterson.
Well, I know Coach DePay and his staff are not looking at anything but next week's game. They'll start on Monday to break things down for that game. They'll be looking at this game tonight and going back and seeing the few tweaks that they can make in order to help the offense get a little bit more rhythm going. And, again, we can see some progress from week to week. This style of football takes a little while to catch all the nuances of. And we're looking at a lot of freshmen that have come in that Coach DePay and his staff have really worked hard to get here. As they mature and get through this system, in 2 or 3 years, we should see teams fearing playing the Knights, just like teams don't want to play Navy or Georgia Tech because of that style.
And if you're a Wesley fan, a very big outing today for them as they try to rebound from some early season losses. They're still in the thick of things in the New Jersey Athletic Conference with this victory, Mike, but still a long way to go just because of the sheer competition that the conference has.
Well, they, again, showed that quick strike ability, how they could score very quickly. I think that one of the scores was 6 plays in a minute and 22, and they were able to go about 68 yards for the score. They still have that capability. Again, it's going to be them cleaning up some of the penalties that they brought on themselves.
So a big win today, again, for the Wesley Wolverines as they knock off the Southern Virginia University Knights here from the fields at Southern Virginia University in football action. The final score again, Wesley 63 and Southern Virginia 9. And we want to remind folks that, again, coming up in about an hour and a half or so, about 5:30 this afternoon, we will have men's soccer as the Southern Virginia men take on Penn State Harrisburg. And that'll be followed up about a half hour later, after that game is over, by Southern Virginia University women's soccer at 8 o'clock tonight as the SVU women will be taking on Penn State Harrisburg. So make sure you join us later this afternoon and also tonight for men's soccer at 5:30 and women's soccer at 8 o'clock. That'll wrap things up for now here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. Again, make sure you join us for men's soccer at 5:30 and women's soccer tonight at 8 o'clock. Final score in football, though, Wesley 63 and Southern Virginia 9. For Mike Harmon and Josh and all the production crew here from the fields at Southern Virginia University, I'm Jim Bresnahan. Thanks again for joining us today for Southern Virginia University football.